Chapter 1561. 1561 Chapter 1561 Life form. Back then, Lu Ming had been completely drowned by his killing intent. He had lost all sense of self-awareness and had fallen into a frenzy of killing. Later, because of a little girl, he became a little more clear-headed and stopped killing. But it was too late. By that time, many people in this castle had already died in his hands. It was also because he had recovered a bit of his consciousness that he had some impression of this castle. Since you're here, let's go pay our respects. Lu Ming sighed slightly. The people in this castle could be said to have no grudges with him, but he had killed many of them. Lu Ming felt guilty. Lu Ming had always been a person who drew a clear line between gratitude and grudges. He would take revenge for grudges and repay kindness for kindness. He would never kill the innocent. The people he had killed were all people who had enmity with him or wanted to kill him. Lu Ming would never have done that if he had not been influenced by his endless killing intent. At the thought of this, Lu Ming stepped forward. Who's there? This is the Lu clan's castle. Stop. As they neared the castle, a few burly men flew out and stood in front of Lu Ming, looking at him warily. The Lu clan? You have the same surname as me. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He cupped his fists and said, I'm Lu Ming, a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. I heard that the Lu clan fort was attacked half a year ago, and many people were killed or injured. I'm here to pay my respects. Are you a disciple of the Dragon God Valley? The few burly men's expressions changed. That's right, this is my identity token. Lu Ming took out the Dragon God Valley identity token and handed it to the other party. The other party took a look, and his expression eased a lot. He said, So it's the disciple of Dragon God Valley. I've been disrespectful. This place was not very far from Dragon God Valley. Small forces like them were still in awe of a big sect like Dragon God Valley. My ancestors used to be friends with the Lu clan. I'm here to pay my respects when I heard the bad news about the Lu clan. Lu Ming repeated. Half a year ago, the Lu clan was suddenly attacked by a demon and suffered heavy casualties. I wonder if the demon was sent by our enemy. Young master, please follow me. One of the burly men sighed, then made a please gesture and walked forward. Lu Ming felt helpless. The devil that the other party was referring to was naturally him. He followed the burly man and flew for a while before arriving at the back of the castle. There were many tombstones here. Half a year ago, more than 100 people died and were all buried here. The burly man said. Lu Ming looked at the tombstones, then cupped his fists and bowed deeply. Although Lu Ming had no choice that day, it was still his fault. From now on, the Lu clan's fort's matters are Lu Ming's matters. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Big brother, it's you? Suddenly, a crisp and tender voice sounded. Lu Ming turned around and was shocked. A young woman and a little girl of 6 or 7 years old were standing not far away. The little girl was looking at Lu Ming with her big, black eyes. This little girl was the one who helped Lu Ming regain his consciousness during the massacre. The young woman was the little girl's mother. Big brother. The little girl called out again. In her large eyes, there was a hint of fear, but there was more curiosity. This little girl recognized me. Lu Ming's heart trembled. He felt that it was somewhat unbelievable. Half a year ago, when the power of the third bloodline surged in, Lu Ming's appearance was completely different from now. Back then, his eyes and hair were blood red, and his body was covered with bone spikes. He looked like a demon. Even his aura was completely different. Even a martial arts powerhouse would not be able to recognize Lu Ming. This little girl did not seem to have started cultivating. How could she recognize him? Xiang, do you know this big brother? The little girl's mother asked. The little girl nodded and didn't say much. Young madam, this is an expert from the Dragon God Valley. His ancestors used to be friends with the Lu clan. He has heard of the bad news and is here to pay his respects. The burly man explained. So you're a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. Thank you for coming to pay your respects. The young woman bowed to Lu Ming. You're welcome. Lu Ming returned the salute with cupped fists. He then looked at the little girl and said, What's your name? My name is Xiang, Lu Xiang. The trace of fear in the little girl's eyes slowly faded. She looked at Lu Ming curiously. "Xiang Xiang, good name," Lu Ming said. At this moment, his eyes emitted a strange glow as he sized up the little girl. He was very curious about this little girl. How did the other party recognize him? Moreover, this little girl was able to make him recover from the killing. It was definitely not because of her young age that Lu Ming felt compassion for her. Back then, he had completely lost his mind and had no compassion. All he had was to kill. There must be another reason. Lu Ming was now casting a secret skill. This secret skill was obtained from the memory fragments of the 9 dragons. When this secret skill was used, it could roughly see a person's physique and check a person's talent. Of course, this was under the condition that the other party didn't resist with true essence at all. In Lu Ming's eyes, Lu Xiangxiang had changed. She seemed to have turned into a ball of light, a ball of dazzling radiance, filled with endless vitality. What a strange physique! What an amazing physique! After a long while, Lu Ming removed the secret skill and his eyes were filled with surprise. A peerless genius. This little girl was simply a peerless genius. She was more talented than any other geniuses that Lu Ming had met. She was like a piece of unpolished jade that had not been carved. Even Lu Ming was shocked by the vast vitality hidden deep in his body. Could it be the legendary body of life? Lu Ming thought of a legend and he was shocked. In this world, there were some terrifying physiques that were born from birth. It was difficult to discover them unless one had special means. However, they were universally shocking. The body of life was one of them. If it's a living body, then it can explain why the other party was able to make me regain a trace of consciousness. It can also explain why the other party was able to recognize me. Lu Ming's thoughts were flying. The body of life was astonishingly sensitive to all kinds of living creatures. As long as he could recognize a person through their life characteristics, this was a talent that outsiders could not learn. The two of you, Lu Ming has something to do and would like to have a private chat with Xiang Xiang. Is that all right? Lu Ming said to the young woman and the middle-aged man. The young woman was a little hesitant. Don't worry. I can see that Xiang Xiang is very talented and have the intention to take her as my disciple. So, I have a few questions to ask. Lu Ming explained. Take Xiang Xiang as a disciple? The young woman's eyes lit up. Lu Ming was an outstanding disciple of Dragon God Valley. If Xiang Xiang Bela could be her disciple, she would naturally be happy. All right, young master, please ask. The young woman hurriedly said before leaving with the large man, standing in the distance and looking over. Only Lu Ming and Xiang Xiang remained at the scene. Xiang Xiang, since you know who I am, aren't you afraid of me? Don't you hate me? Lu Ming looked at Xiang Xiang Bela and asked. Chapter 1562, 1562 Lu Ming's first true disciple, I'm not afraid. Xiang Xiang Bela shook her head and said, I know that Big Brother didn't do it on purpose. You didn't have a choice. That's why Xiang Xiang Bela isn't afraid of Big Brother now. She also doesn't hate Big Brother. Xiang Xiang Bela spoke. Her voice was very tender, but it was reasonable. And Big Brother thanks Xiang Xiang. Then, this matter will be a secret between the two of us. Xiang Xiang, don't tell anyone, not even your mother, okay? Lu Ming said gently. All right, Xiang Xiang won't say it. If Xiang Xiang says it, Mother and the others will be afraid of Big Brother. Xiang Xiang Bela shook her head. Her small braid swayed and she looked very cute. Good Xiang Xiang. Xiang Xiang, Big Brother will take you in as a disciple and teach you martial arts. What do you think? Lu Ming smiled. To be honest, Lu Ming was really tempted to take him in as a disciple. The body of life was too shocking. If other people knew about this, countless experts would fight to take Xiang Xiang as their disciple. Even some great emperors would fight to take her as their disciple. Lu Ming did not want to miss out on such a good opportunity. Perhaps this was karma, fate. Good. Xiang Xiang has long wanted to cultivate martial arts. Xiang Xiang Bela happily nodded her head. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He then nodded at the young woman in the distance, and the two of them flew over. The two of you, Lu Ming has the intention to take Xiang Xiang as his disciple, and she has agreed. Lu Ming said. Thank you, young master. Xiang, why aren't you kneeling to pay respects to master? The young woman was overjoyed. Xiang Bela pays her respects to master. Xiang Bela knelt down obediently and kowtowed to Lu Ming, acknowledging him as her master. Quickly get up. Lu Ming hurriedly helped Xiang Bela up, feeling overjoyed. Then he stretched out his finger and touched the space between Xiang Bela's eyebrows. A ray of light flashed and disappeared. Xiang, I've passed on a cultivation technique to you. Your physique should be very suitable for this step of the cultivation technique. In the future, cultivate according to this cultivation technique. Lu Ming said. The cultivation technique that he had just passed on to Xiang was called the Universal Scripture. It was also a cultivation technique from the Nine Dragons' memory. It was very brilliant and mysterious. However, Lu Ming's physique did not match it and he could not cultivate it at all. However, it was the best to pass it on to Xiang as a foundation. Lu Ming took Xiang as his disciple and taught her cultivation techniques. The young woman was very happy. She felt that she had become more familiar with Lu Ming and started chatting with him. Through their conversation, Lu Ming learned that the young woman's name was Lu Wanjun. Xiangxiang's mother was the young madam of the Lu clan. Xiangxiang's father was the young master of the Lu clan. However, he had passed away a few years ago when he was out adventuring. Xiang Bela's grandfather was the clan head of the Lu clan fort. Back then, when Lu Ming went berserk and attacked, Xiang Bela's grandfather was in seclusion, so he managed to escape. Lu Ming secretly rejoiced. Fortunately, the person closest to Xiang Bela did not die in his hands. Otherwise, Xiang Bela might have a grudge against him. Thump, thump, thump. At that moment, a loud drum sound was heard from the Lu clan fort. It was the sound of war drums. Enemy attack, enemy attack. The Zhao family, it's the Zhao family. An anxious shout was heard as figures rushed out of the Lu clan's fort. At the same time, the entire Lu clan's fort glowed with a brilliant light as the formation was activated. Lu Wanjun and the middle-aged man's expressions changed. The Zhao clan is here again, damn it. The middle-aged man was furious. I'm afraid that they're not here with good intentions. Lu Wanjun's expression was grave. Young madam, you guys stay here. I'll go take a look. The middle-aged man flew toward the front of the castle and met up with the other people from the Lu clan. Let's go and take a look. Let's go, Lu Ming said as he held Xiang Bela's hand and walked forward. Lu Wanjun quickly followed. There were already many figures standing in front of the Lu clan's fort. They were all experts from the Lu clan. However, Lu Ming noticed that there were not many experts at a glance. There were pitifully few high-level martial emperors above the 7th-level martial emperor realm. The leader of the group was an old man with white hair and a white beard. He seemed to be at LV8 martial royal realm. Grandpa! Xiang Bela called out softly as she looked at the old man. Outside the Lu clan's fort, there was a huge warship. The warship was towering and menacing, and a terrifying aura emanated from it. Buzz! A burly middle-aged man stepped out of the warship. His aura was violent and his cultivation was at LV8 martial royal realm. This is Zhao Tianba, the head of the Zhao family. Lu Wanjun stood beside Lu Ming and whispered, Old Lu, I've given you a month's time. Have you thought about it? Hurry up and surrender to the Zhao family. Zhao Tianba's voice reverberated throughout the entire Lu clan fort. Don't even think about it. Xiang Bela's grandfather shouted. Zhao Tianba's face darkened. If you don't surrender, I'll kill every single one of you in the Lu clan fort. Boom. The aura on Zhao Tianba's body became even more violent, and it pressed toward Xiang Bela's grandfather. Xiang Bela's grandfather did not give in at all and used his aura to resist. What's going on? Lu Ming asked Lu Wanjun. Half a year ago, the Lu clan encountered a great disaster. A demon descended upon us and many high-level martial royal realm experts died in our hands. Our strength was greatly weakened. The Zhao clan took advantage of this and tried to take over the Lu clan. They came here once a month and said that they would give the Lu clan a month to consider. Otherwise, they would raze the Lu clan to the ground. Lu Wanjun explained. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. In the world of martial Tao, the strong preyed on the weak. Regardless of whether it was a large sect or a small faction, it was the same. Without strength, one would be swallowed up by other factions. Weren't the 13 top powers of the Azure continent the same? If a large number of sages in Dragon God Valley died, the Tianshan sect and other sects would immediately send people to annex Dragon God Valley. Old Lu, if the Lu family is looking for death, don't blame us. Don't think that you can stop the Zhao family with a broken formation. Zhao Tianba coldly said. Buzz. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. One figure after another flew out of the huge warship. The moment these figures flew onto the warship and stood in front of the Lu clan's fort, their powerful auras burst forth, forming a terrifying pressure. Many of them were high-level martial royal realm experts, above the 7th level. The terrifying aura made the people from the Lu clan's fort turn pale. So many experts. Did the Zhao clan turn out in full strength? They're determined to get our Lu clan fort. Many people from the Lu clan's fort spoke out, their voices trembling. The Lu clan had suffered heavy losses. How could they fight against the Zhao clan? Boom. An old man stepped out from the crowd of the Zhao clan. His terrifying aura spread out, causing the expressions of many people from the Lu clan to turn even uglier. LV9 Martial Royal Realm. The old man from the Zhao clan was a LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert. In forces like the Lu clan and the Zhao clan, LV9 Martial Royal Realm was the peak of existence and dominated everything. The Lu clan fort had a 9th-level Martial Royal Realm Grand Elder. Unfortunately, he was killed by the demon half a year ago. Lu clan, if you don't surrender, then don't even spare a chicken or a dog. The 9th-level Martial Royal Realm Elder from the Zhao clan spoke coldly as he struck his palm toward the Lu clan's castle. Chapter 1563. 1563 Take a blood oath, then get lost. The LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert from the Zhao clan attacked with a terrifying aura. A huge palm formed and covered the sky, shrouding the entire Lu clan fort. Boom. In the end, the huge palm landed on the Lu clan's fort's defensive formation. The defensive formation shook violently and only stabilized after a long time. It's blocked, it's blocked. Many people from the Lu clan fort were overjoyed. Their defensive formation had blocked the others' attack. How can a broken formation stop me? The 9th-level Martial Royal Realm Elder from the Zhao clan said coldly. His palm glowed, and a spear appeared in his hand, emitting a terrifying sharp chi. A saint weapon? You have a saint weapon? Xiang Beila's grandfather shouted in shock. Ha! It's an honor for your Lu clan to be destroyed by my holy weapon. The LV9 Martial Royal Realm Elder from the Zhao clan laughed out loud. His vital essence burst out as he thrust his long spear toward the Lu clan's castle. The holy weapon spear seemed to grow in size rapidly. Like a pillar that reached the sky, it stabbed heavily into the defensive formation of the Lu clan's castle. Boom. The defensive formation of the Lu clan's fort began to shake violently. Gotcha. In the end, a crack appeared on the defensive formation of the Lu clan's fort. The crack grew bigger and bigger until it finally exploded with a loud bang. The Lu clan's defensive formation had been broken. Everyone in the Lu clan fort turned as pale as a sheet. Now that there were only a few powerful cultivators in the Lu clan, how could they fight against the Zhao clan without their defensive formation? Could it be that the Lu clan fort was really going to wipe out all of them? Lu. Young Master Lu Ming, please wait a moment. Please take Xiang away. You are a disciple of Dragon God Valley. The Zhao family would not dare to touch you. Lu Wanjin's face was pale and she looked at Lu Ming pleadingly. She only hoped that she could save Xiangxiang's life. Lu Ming shook his head. You don't want to? Lu Wanjun was in despair. Just tell the Zhao family to get lost. Lu Ming continued to speak and Lu Wanjun's eyes lit up. People of the Lu family, you're so stubborn. The elder at the LV9 Martial Royal Realm from the Zhao clan broke the Lu clan's defensive formation with a single spear strike. He was overbearing and arrogant. He wielded his holy spear like a god, ready to take the lives of the Lu family members. His spear was about to strike the Lu castle. The terrifying aura made Xiangxiang Beilas' grandfather, who was at the LV-8 martial royal realm, feel desperate. Boom. At this moment, a stone the size of a water tank flew out of the Lu clan's fort. It flew toward the LV-9 martial royal realm expert from the Zhao clan at a terrifying speed. Due to the high speed, the rock rubbed against the air and burned like a shooting star. The 9th-level martial royal realm expert from the Zhao clan changed his expression. He turned his saint weapon spear around and stabbed it at the rock. Boom. The rock exploded, but the elder's body shook and he couldn't help but retreat 3 steps. Who is it? The LV-9 martial royal realm elder from the Zhao clan shouted with an unsightly expression. He was actually forced to take 3 steps back by a rock. Me! A clear voice rang out. Lu Ming rose into the air and stomped toward the 9th-level martial royal realm expert from the Zhao clan. Lu Ming had casually grabbed a stone from the side and threw it out. Although it was just an ordinary stone, it contained Lu Ming's quintessential essence and chaos domain. It was as heavy as a mountain and forced the other party to take 3 steps back. Young Master Lu Ming. Lu Wanjin's face turned pale. However, on second thought, Lu Ming was a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. The Zhao family would not dare to touch him. Kid, who are you? The 9th-level martial royal realm old man from the Zhao clan said coldly. You have no right to know who I am. Now, I'll give the Zhao clan a chance. If you realize the blood oath, you will never invade the Lu clan fort again. Then, get lost immediately. Lu Ming said calmly. Haha. Not only did his words make the 9th-level martial royal realm experts from the Zhao clan laugh, but even Zhao Tianba and the other members of the Zhao clan laughed. Who is this kid? What a big tone, you actually want us to take a blood oath and then get lost. I'm afraid this kid has gone mad. What a joke. Leave this kid to me. I'll kill a LV-6 martial royal realm expert with 1 move. The crowd from the Zhao family laughed sarcastically. Who is this person? In the Lu clan fort, many people were also looking at each other. Family head, this man is called Lu Ming. He is a disciple of Dragon God Valley. He has even taken Xiangxiang as his disciple. The middle-aged man who had led the way for Lu Ming came to Xiangxiang Beilas' grandfather and reported in a low voice. Disciples of Dragon God Valley. Xiangxiang Beilas' grandfather's eyes lit up. Then he sighed and said, it's a pity that his cultivation is too weak. He's only at the 6th level of the martial royal realm. However, he's a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. I don't think the Zhao family would dare to touch him. If there's a big battle later, let him take Xiangxiang away. He had the same thought as Lu Wanjun, which was to leave with Xiangxiang. The 6th-level martial emperor realm was too weak to turn the tide. It seems like you guys aren't leaving? Lu Ming said calmly. Nonsense. Today, we'll make sure not a single chicken or dog is left in the Lu clan fort. No, we'll leave the young woman behind. The 9th-level martial royal realm expert from the Zhao clan said coldly. Sigh, I didn't want to kill anyone during this period of time, but you guys just have to send yourselves to death. Lu Ming suddenly heaved a long sigh. During this period of time, he really didn't want to kill anyone because if he wanted to kill someone, he had to be filled with killing intent. His killing intent would grow stronger if he used his killing intent. His main goal now was to obliterate the killing intent in the depths of his soul. But now, it seemed like he had no choice but to kill. Big words, I'll kill you first. The LV-9 martial royal realm expert from the Zhao family shouted coldly. He wielded his holy spear and charged at Lu Ming. Be careful! Xiangxiang Beilas' grandfather, Lu Wanjun, and the others couldn't help but shout. Buzz! At this moment, the black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. A dragon's roar was heard as the black dragon spear burst out. A spear radiance clashed with the opponent's long spear. At the moment of collision, Lu Ming cast, storing power 13 strikes. The 13 attacks overlapped and exploded. The terrifying power passed through the spear and entered the man's body. The man screamed and was pushed back. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The hand that was holding the spear exploded because of the power. Now, with Lu Ming's cultivation at the 6th level of the martial emperor realm, It was very easy for him to deal with an ordinary 9th-level martial emperor. "Kill, die!" Lu Ming shouted. A terrifying killing intent enveloped the other party. At the same time, he activated the divine sword technique and stabbed into the other party's spiritual god. Arg. The other party screamed as he felt like his soul was about to be torn apart. The spear radiance pierced through the void like a rainbow and pierced through the dantian of the LV9 martial royal realm elder from the Zhao clan, destroying his spiritual spirit in one fell swoop. The other party screamed and stopped breathing, his corpse falling to the ground. He was dead. A LV9 martial royal realm expert with a holy weapon was killed by Lu Ming in 2 moves. The entire place fell silent. Whether it was the people from the Zhao clan or the Lu clan, they were all dumbfounded. Chapter 1564, 1564 Chapter 1564 Deterrence. With a cultivation of LV6 martial royal realm, he had killed a LV9 martial royal realm expert with 2 moves. It was almost an instant kill. This was too shocking. He's a heaven's favorite, a peerless heaven's favorite. He must be a peerless heaven's favorite from Dragon God Valley. Xiang Beila's grandfather was so excited that his entire body was trembling. He was definitely a peerless heaven's favorite, and an extremely terrifying one at that. To be honest, he had lived for so long, but he had never heard of such a person. What else could he be if not a peerless heaven's favorite? That's amazing. Young Master Lu Ming is actually so powerful? Lu Wanjun was also dumbfounded. Then, at the thought that Lu Ming had already taken Xiang as his disciple, she was extremely happy. For such a genius to take Xiang as a disciple, this was Xiangxiang's great fortune. Buzz. Lu Ming reached out his palm and sucked the long spear of the LV9 martial royal realm elder into his hand. Do you all still want to continue fighting? Lu Ming looked at Zhao Tianba and the rest coldly. Zhao Tianba and the others all shivered, their faces pale. Fight again? How to fight? Even the Zhao clan's most powerful great elder, a LV9 martial royal realm expert who wielded a holy weapon, was killed by Lu Ming in 2 moves. What could they do to fight? Are you looking for death? If you don't want to fight, then make a blood oath that you will never invade the Lu clan. Let me tell you, Dragon God Valley will protect the Lu clan from now on. Lu Ming said coldly. Are you from the Dragon God Valley? Zhao Tianba spoke with great difficulty. Not bad. Lu Ming said. So, it's the pride of the Dragon God Valley. We were blind to not know that the Lu clan has a connection with the Dragon God Valley. We swear now that we will never invade the Lu clan ever again. Zhao Tianba hurriedly said. Upon hearing that Lu Ming was from Dragon God Valley, Zhao Tianba had completely given up on the idea of attacking the Lu clan. Lu Ming, who was only at the 6th level of the martial royal realm, could easily kill a 9th-level martial royal realm expert. Such a heaven's favorite was definitely a rare one in Dragon God Valley. His status was not to be underestimated. If they disobeyed such a person, they would not dare to invade the Lu clan's castle even if they were given 100 times more guts, unless the Zhao clan wanted to be destroyed. At once, Zhao Tianba and the higher-ups of the Zhao clan swore a blood oath that they would never invade the Lu clan's castle again. Then they boarded the warship and left. The people from the Lu clan's fort heaved a long sigh of relief, knowing that they had dodged a calamity. Lu Zhenghao. Thank you for your help, young Master Lu Ming. Xiang Beila's grandfather came to Lu Ming and gave him a fist salute. Senior, you don't have to be so polite. I'm Xiangxiang's master, so I naturally won't sit idly by. Lu Ming said with a smile. Young Master Lu Ming, please come in. Lu Zhenghao quickly invited Lu Ming into the Lu clan fort. Lu Ming nodded and went into the Lu clan fort with Lu Zhenghao and the rest. Lu Zhenghao immediately ordered the servants to prepare a banquet to celebrate Xiangxiang's apprenticeship. After the banquet, Lu Ming, Lu Zhenghao, Lu Wanjun, and the higher-ups of the Lu clan sat on both sides of the hall. Of course, little Xiang was beside Lu Wanjun. The higher-ups of the Lu family were overjoyed. Since Xiang Beila was able to become Lu Ming's disciple, she could be considered to have established a connection with the Dragon God Valley. In the future, with the Dragon God Valley as her backing, No one would dare to touch the Lu clan's fort in this area. Xiang, come here. Lu Ming looked at Xiang. Xiang Bela came to Lu Ming obediently. A storage ring appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He put it on Xiang Bela and said, I have something to do during this period of time. I can't bring you back to Dragon God Valley to cultivate for a while. There are some spirit herbs and elixirs in here that can assist you in your cultivation. There are also some spirit weapons, inscription scrolls, and so on. You can keep them for your use. Thank you, Master. Xiang Bela said obediently. Yes, I will be back in a year and take you back to Dragon God Valley. With that, Lu Ming's body glowed and he tapped the area between Xiang Bela's eyebrows 3 times. I've left 3 marks on your body. Each mark has the power of a full force attack from me. If anyone tries to harm you, the mark will appear and kill them. His words made some of the Lu clan's people's hearts tremble. They knew that Lu Ming's words were meant for them. Lu Ming had just given Xiang a storage ring. With his status, he would definitely not hold back. Some people would inevitably be greedy. However, his words made some people's greed disappear completely. Clan Head Lu, he'll be staying at the Lu clan fort for a few days. First, he'll bring Xiang to cultivate and let her join us. Second, I know a little about the Tao of inscriptions. He'll set up a large array around the Lu clan fort in the next few days. Even a half-saint won't be able to break it in a short time. Lu Ming looked at Lu Zhenghao. Lu Zhenghao was overjoyed. He thanked Lu Ming repeatedly. Xiang, follow me. Then, Lu Ming pulled Xiang Bela, took a step forward, and disappeared. After a while, Lu Ming brought Xiang Bela and appeared on a mountain peak not far away. Then, Lu Ming's glabella glowed, and Ming Lian walked out. Xiang Bela looked at the 2 identical Lu Mings in astonishment. Her dark eyes were filled with curiosity. The second clone smiled and took a step forward. He appeared around the Lu clan's castle and began to inscribe a defensive formation. He had put in so much effort because, firstly, he felt guilty towards the Lu clan. Secondly, Xiang was going to stay in the Lu clan for the next year. He was also thinking about her safety. The inscription clone began to inscribe the formation, while Lu Ming took over and taught Xiang Bela how to cultivate. Before Xiang Bela started cultivating, her bloodline had yet to awaken. Now, the first step was to help her awaken her bloodline and enter the first level of martial cultivation, the connective meridian level. Xiang, sit properly and do as I say. Lu Ming instructed. Xiang Bela sat cross-legged on the ground obediently. Lu Ming circulated his essential core and tapped a few hundred times around Xiang Bela's body. Streams of essential core flowed into her body. After a while, Xiang Bela's body started to emit a green radiance. What is this? At this moment, Lu Ming discovered a shocking scene. The grass around Xiang Bela began to grow rapidly. In a short while, the grass had grown taller than Lu Ming and drowned him and Xiang Bela. Lu Ming's essential core shook and the grass turned into powder. However, there were still grass growing on the ground, and the green light on Xiang Bela's body was getting stronger. Buzz! At this moment, a green ball of light flew out from Xiang's spine. On the green ball of light, there were 9 golden chakras that were shining. Divine level 9th rank bloodline, this? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This ball of light was, without a doubt, a bloodline. But wasn't this the first bloodline? How could it be a level 9 divine level expert? It had directly reached the highest level. What was going on? Lu Ming's spiritual sense entered Xiang Bela's body and sensed it carefully. Amazing, it's really amazing. It seems like there's only one bloodline. Lu Ming's current cultivation level was very high. In addition to the secret skill in the 9 Dragons memory that could see through one's talent, he could naturally sense it very clearly. Xiang Bela seemed to only have one bloodline. In the future, when she cultivated, she would not be like others who would awaken a 2nd or 3rd bloodline. No wonder she was a level 9 divine level expert the moment she appeared. Chapter 1565. 1565 Terrifying Cultivation Speed and NBSP Hoo-hoo. After Xiang Bela's bloodline appeared, Wisps of green energy gathered around the mountain and between heaven and earth. They flowed into Xiangxiang Beila's body and began to flow through her meridians. Not long after, a ray of light shot into the sky. This is the first divine meridian. It's so fast. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. But then, the second and third light beams shot out. All 3 holy pulses had been opened. Lu Ming was already speechless. This speed was too shocking. Back then, when Lu Ming had just stepped into martial arts, he had spent a lot of effort to open up his 3 divine meridians. He had even used the true war dragon technique to open them up. But now, it had only been a few minutes, and Xiangxiang Beila had already opened up all 3 divine meridians. Once the 3 holy pulses were opened, Xiangxiang Beila's cultivation naturally entered the first realm of a martial artist, the warrior realm, and she reached the first-grade warrior realm. However, this was far from over. Between the heaven and earth, there was a constant flow of green energy that gushed into Xiangxiang Beila's body. Xiangxiang Beila naturally circulated her universal scripture cultivation technique to absorb and refine the energy. Her petite body was completely enveloped in a ball of green light. You've already learned how to use the universal scripture? Lu Ming was getting more and more surprised. Ooh! The energy in the world was constantly being refined by Xiangxiang Beila. Her aura became stronger and stronger, and her cultivation level was also rising crazily. First grade, second grade, third grade. In less than half a day, Xiangxiang Beila's cultivation had reached the 9th grade warrior realm. Then, after a while, Xiangxiang Beila's body let out a loud sound. She had broken through to the 1st grade master realm. Lu Ming was already numb to it. He had just started cultivating, and in just half a day, his cultivation had already reached the 1 Dan master realm. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it. Talent. This was what talent was. Lu Ming's own talent was far inferior to Xiangxiang Beila's. Lu Ming's mouth was about to split into a smile. He knew that he had picked up a treasure. This disciple's future achievements would most likely be extremely shocking. At this moment, Xiangxiang Beila's cultivation finally stopped increasing. She opened her eyes. Is this my bloodline? With a thought, Xiangxiang Beila's bloodline flew in front of her, and she started to examine it curiously. With a thought, her bloodline would fly into her spine and hide. It would then appear and hide again. She was having a lot of fun. How wonderful my body! Xiangxiang Beila took a step forward and was a few meters away. Then, green true energy spread out from her body, and grass grew under her feet. Xiangxiang, in the future, try not to reveal your bloodline and cultivation in front of others, understand? Lu Ming urged. Xiangxiang Beila's current cultivation was still weak, and if she revealed too much of her abilities, she would probably be targeted by people with ill intentions. Yes, Xiangxiang understands. Xiangxiang Beila nodded obediently. For the rest of the time, Lu Ming began to impart his cultivation experience and a few martial arts techniques that were more suitable for Xiangxiang Beila to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Xiangxiang Beila's progress was simply too shocking. It was practically an increase of 1 realm a day. 7 days later, Xiangxiang Beila's cultivation had already reached the 7th grade master realm. However, as her cultivation level increased, Xiangxiang Beila's improvement finally slowed down. At this moment, the inscription of the secondary body array was finally completed. It was time for Lu Ming to leave. Lu Ming took Xiangxiang and returned to the Lu clan fort. He found Lu Wanjun and Lu Zhenghao and handed Xiangxiang to them. Shizuan, Xiangxiang is waiting for you to come and pick me up. Xiangxiang Beila blinked her big black eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Of course. Lu Ming touched Xiangxiang Beila's little head. He then bade farewell to Lu Zhenghao and Lu Wanjun and left the Lu clan fort. And NBSP hoo-hoo. As the wind blew on his face, Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the distance in the blink of an eye. After passing through the mountains, they began to see cities. Lu Ming's body shape began to change as well. He turned into an ordinary young man with dark skin. Now that evil spirit had set its eyes on him, he naturally had to be more careful on this trip. It was the safest to travel in disguise. This time, he didn't have a goal and just walked casually. Sometimes, he would feel something and sit on the top of a mountain, watching the sun rise in the east and set in the west, watching the clouds roll and relax, and the sky filled with multicolored light. He sat there for a month. During this process, he didn't cultivate. Instead, he emptied his mind and forgot everything. It was as if he was one with nature. A month later, he left the place. In the middle of a volcano, Lu Ming sat cross-legged at the mouth of the volcano. He let the flames engulf his body and wear down the killing intent in the depths of his heart and soul. He was like an old monk in meditation. Another month passed. After that, he came to a land of ice and snow. He lay down on the glacier and let the snow cover his body, but he fell asleep. This sleep lasted for another month. Just like that, Lu Ming traveled all over the Tsang region, appreciating the different sceneries. His mind and body were empty, and he became one with nature. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a year's time was almost up. The Feng family village was a very small village with only a few dozen families. It was located in the far west of the Azure continent. In the village, in front of a wooden house, a dark-skinned young man was holding a piece of wood in his left hand and a small knife in his right hand. He was carving seriously. The knife flew in the young man's hand smoothly and harmoniously, as if it was one with nature. The wood splinters flew everywhere, and soon, a piece of wood turned into a woman, a peerless woman with the beauty to topple a country. "Big Brother Lu, is this your lover? It's so beautiful." A young girl, about 15 or 16 years old, with slightly dark skin, but healthy and beautiful, skipped over and looked curiously at the wooden statue in the young man's hand. This young man was naturally Lu Ming, who had traveled all over the Azure region. 3 months ago, Lu Ming had come to this small mountain village in the far west of the Azure region. This small mountain village was simple, natural, and sincere. Lu Ming liked this small mountain village very much. He settled down in this small mountain village and became a carpenter in the village. He would help the village fix the furniture, and when he had nothing to do, Lu Ming would carve some statues. "Oh, really? The Ling girl is also very beautiful?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. The young lady in front of him was called Feng Ling. She was the granddaughter of the village chief. Lu Ming's small wooden house was located near the village chief's wooden house. As they went back and forth, Lu Ming, Feng Ling, and the village chief were very familiar with each other. "Oh, really?" Feng Ling laughed excitedly, like a northern sparrow. "Big Brother Lu, you should also carve a statue for Feng Ling." Feng Ling looked at Lu Ming in anticipation. "All right, I'll give it to you tomorrow." Lu Ming smiled and his gaze fell on the statue that he had just carved. The statue was Xian Yanking's appearance. The wooden statue gave off a faint fragrance that made one's mind calm and enter a state of emptiness. Chapter 1566. 1566 Chapter 1566 Phoenix Cry Phoenix Incense Wood. This small mountain village actually has so much phoenix incense wood. Lu Ming felt rather emotional. There were faint patterns on the wood. It looked like a phoenix. It was a very precious spirit wood, phoenix incense wood. The phoenix incense wood would emit a faint fragrance. Martial cultivators often carried it with them. It could calm one's heart and prevent inner demons from forming. It was very helpful for cultivation comprehension. Although it couldn't be compared to the path understanding ancient tree, it was still a very precious treasure. This small village actually had a lot of such spiritual wood. Some villagers even used it to make some furniture. It could be said to be extravagant. As a carpenter, Lu Ming had collected quite a lot of phoenix incense wood. He carved them into statues, accessories, and other items, planning to give them to his friends and family in the future. They would be of great help to his cultivation. The 1-year period is almost up. In a few days, I should leave and return to Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming thought to himself. He liked his life in this small mountain village very much. It was a memorable day, but he had to leave in the end. He didn't belong here. After nearly a year, Lu Ming had completely erased the killing intent in the depths of his soul. Now, his eyes were warm and pure, like a clear spring. In the past year, he had never deliberately cultivated. However, his cultivation base was still slowly rising. Now, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm, and his chaotic domain had also reached the peak of the 6th level. This year, he did not deliberately try to comprehend the chaos domain, but it was not like he did not gain anything. He felt that he was in perfect harmony with heaven and earth. As for the chaos realm, it was also comprehended from nature. He felt that as long as he spent some time, he would be able to upgrade the chaos realm to level 7. Moreover, because of his compatibility with nature, he would definitely be able to comprehend the chaos realm faster than before. Little brother Lu Lingling, it's time to eat. A slightly aged voice sounded. It was the voice of the village chief, Grandpa Feng Ling. "I'm coming, Grandpa." Feng Ling responded and pulled Lu Ming. "Big brother Lu, let's go and eat. Grandpa has prepared a few bottles of good wine today." Lu Ming put away Xianyang's statue and followed Feng Ling into the village chief's small courtyard. "Little girl, you want to drink again?" A white-haired old man in his 60s looked at Feng Ling kindly and scolded her with a smile. "Grandpa, you'll just drink a little, just a little." Feng Ling ran in front of the old man, pulled his arm, and shook it hard. "Good, good, you little girl." The old man patted Feng Ling's little head lovingly. The three of them sat down, and the village chief poured 3 cups of wine for them to eat and drink. Buzz! Right at this moment, a bird's cry rang out from the distance, reverberating through the entire world. The three of them couldn't help but look towards the north. It's calling again. The phoenix is calling again. It's been half a month. I'm afraid this area will not be peaceful anymore. The village chief sighed. "Grandpa, is there really a divine phoenix in the heavenly wind plains?" Feng Ling asked curiously. "That's right, according to the ancient legends, there is indeed a divine phoenix in the heavenly wind plains." The village chief said. "Grandpa, why do I hear the phoenix cry like it's wailing in pain and despair?" Feng Ling said. "I feel the same way. I don't know what happened. I hope nothing happened." The village chief sighed, seemingly deeply worried. "A divine bird phoenix?" Lu Ming's gaze was also directed to the north. He frowned slightly. The heavenly wind plains was one of the 6 forbidden areas of the Tsang region, and this small village was not far from the heavenly wind plains. According to the village chief, the phoenix incense wood was blown out from the heavenly wind plains. However, since half a month ago, the cries of phoenixes could be heard from time to time in the heavenly wind plains. They were filled with despair and unwillingness. Buzz! Buzz! In the northern sky, a few rainbows flashed. Finally, a martial arts powerhouse has been attracted here. The village chief sighed as he also saw the rainbow lights. Soon, the three of them finished eating and drinking and night fell. In the night sky, Lu Ming stood in midair, looking into the north. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! In the northern sky, rainbow lights would flash across the sky from time to time like meteors. Each rainbow light was a martial arts master. Lu Ming took a look and returned to the wooden house to rest. In the next few days, the cries of phoenixes continued to ring out, and more experts arrived. They could even see groups of powerhouses whistling through the sky. The phoenix had been chirping nonstop for half a month, so there must be something unusual. When the nearby experts heard the news, they would naturally dare to come and check. On the morning of the 3rd day, Lu Ming rose into the air and flew north. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived at the outskirts of the breezy plains. It was a spectacular sight to see the heavenly wind plains from high up in the sky. The heavenly wind plain was filled with endless gales. Tornadoes as large as mountain ranges were howling in the heavenly wind plain, moving and breaking through the sky. There were countless giant tornadoes in the vast Skygale plain. These tornadoes were so terrifying that even a saint would be cut into pieces if he were to enter. There had been many saints who had wanted to go in and explore, but they had all died inside. That was why the heavenly wind plains was known as one of the 6 forbidden areas of the Tsang state. However, the strange thing was that the tornadoes seemed to only move within a certain range and would not leave that range. The area outside the breezy plains was very calm, as if they were in 2 different worlds. Outside the heavenly wind plain, many people were standing in the air, looking at the plain, but no one dared to enter. The people from the Desire Poison sect and the Heaven God sect. Lu Ming muttered. He discovered that among the experts who came here, the Yu-Du sect and the Tianshan sect had the most people. This was also within reason. The Yu-Du sect and the Tianshan sect were located in the western part of the Tsang region and were the closest to this place. Naturally, the number of people who rushed here was the highest. There were also some scattered experts from small forces. At that moment, some uninvited guests arrived in the small mountain village. These were a few burly men who were floating above the village chief's wooden house. Their expressions were haughty, and their powerful auras enveloped the village chief and Feng Ling, causing their bodies to feel as if they were being pressed down by a huge mountain. From their clothes, they were obviously from the Tianshan sect. "Old man, I'll ask you a few questions. Answer me honestly." A middle-aged man with cold and arrogant eyes looked down at the village chief and said in a commanding tone, Yes, my lords, if there's anything you want to ask, just ask. This old man will definitely tell you everything he knows." The village chief hurriedly bowed and nodded. The village chief had lived for a long time, so he naturally knew how to deal with people. These people had strong cultivation, and they were at least at the martial emperor realm. Although their small village also cultivated, the village chief had the strongest cultivation, and he was only at the spiritual god realm. In front of these emperors, the village chief naturally had to be respectful. Chapter 1567, 1567 Chapter 1567 Stealing someone's tablet. The arrogant middle-aged man seemed to be satisfied with the village chief's attitude. He nodded and said, "Since you live here, do you know when the phoenix's cry in the heavenly wind plains started? About half a month ago it was very loud, but now it seems to be getting weaker and weaker." The village chief answered honestly. "Oh, half a month ago? Do you have any legends about the heavenly wind plains in your village? Tell me in detail." The icily arrogant middle-aged man ordered. The village chief told him about the legend of the breezy plains in detail. After the village chief finished speaking, the few Heaven God sect disciples frowned and pondered. Then, their eyes swept across the village chief's courtyard, hoping to find some clues. All of a sudden, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up. He took a step forward and appeared in front of a chair in the courtyard. After taking a closer look, he revealed a surprised expression. "Phoenix incense wood. This is actually made of phoenix incense wood. To actually make a chair out of phoenix incense wood, this is simply a waste of God's gift." With that, he waved his hand and kept the chair. The other middle-aged men were envious as they looked around. "That stool is also made of phoenix incense wood. And this bamboo steamer is also made of phoenix incense wood." The middle-aged men's eyes lit up, and their bodies flickered as they collected all the items. The bed inside too." The arrogant youth laughed and was about to rush into the room. "Hey, how can you guys be like this? That's my bed. If you take it away, where will I sleep?" Feng Ling couldn't help but call out. "What did you just say?" The icily arrogant middle-aged man turned around and a powerful aura pressed down on Feng Ling. Feng Ling's body trembled and she retreated continuously, blood flowing out of her mouth. However, Feng Ling was extremely stubborn and was about to speak again. The village chief quickly went forward and stopped Feng Ling. He cupped his fists towards the few burly men of the Heavenly God sect and said, "My lords, please forgive me. My granddaughter is still young and insensible. My lords are all heroic figures. Please don't lower yourself to her level. Keep her mouth shut, or she won't even know how she died." The icily arrogant middle-aged man said coldly. The village chief naturally agreed. The icily arrogant middle-aged man walked into the room and kept Feng Ling's bed. Bang. And NBSP at this moment, a wooden house in another part of the village collapsed, sending dust and smoke into the air. A few green-robed youths took away a wooden pillar. Obviously, other than the few men from the Heavenly God sect, there were other people who had come to the village and found the phoenix incense wood. There's still more in the other houses. Let's go. Don't let the people from the Desire Poison sect finish taking them. When the few burly men of the Heaven God sect saw this, they immediately rushed to the houses of the other villagers. In their eyes, This village was simply a treasure trove. They had to plunder it clean before anyone else discovered it. A few burly men from the heaven deity sect rushed to the houses of the other villagers and started plundering them wantonly. Any villagers who tried to stop them would be sent flying with a slap. "Grandpa, what kind of big sect are these disciples from? They're like bandits." Feng Ling was indignant. "Sigh, the world of martial Dao has always been the law of the jungle." Village chief sighed, and in the next moment his expression suddenly changed as he shouted, "No, that's the ancestral hall." After saying that, the village chief hurriedly rushed towards the largest stone house, and Feng Ling quickly followed. At this moment, the few burly men of the Heaven God sect and a few green-robed young men had already arrived in front of the stone house. Those memorial tablets inside are actually all phoenix incense wood. We're rich, we're rich." A burly man from the Heaven God sect cried out in surprise. "That's ours." The green-robed young men's eyes lit up. "Don't even think about it, we found it first." The cold and arrogant middle-aged man from the Heavenly God sect said. The few of them strode forward and were about to rush into the stone house. "Milords, milords, please wait." The village chief rushed over and blocked the stone house. He bowed and paid his respects. "Old man, what are you doing? Get lost." The cold and arrogant middle-aged man berated. "My lords, inside are the memorial tablets of my village's ancestors. Please don't take them away. I'm begging you." The village chief immediately knelt down and kowtowed repeatedly. In the stone house, there were the memorial tablets of the village's ancestors. Other things could be taken away, but he could not let others take away the memorial tablets. Otherwise, how would he have the face to face his ancestors? "You old fart, get lost." The icily arrogant middle-aged man kicked out and sent the village chief flying. The wall of the stone house was smashed into pieces. The village chief sprawled on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Grandpa!" Feng Ling shouted and rushed towards the village chief to help him up. Seeing that the village chief was only injured, she was relieved. She then glared at the cold and arrogant burly man and the others, scolding, "I can't believe you're the disciples of a big sect. You're no different from bandits. No, you're even worse than bandits. You even want to snatch the memorial tablets of other people's ancestors. Little slut, what did you say? You're looking for death." The icily arrogant middle-aged man's body emitted an icy cold killing intent. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Feng Ling, sending a slap towards her. The icily arrogant middle-aged man had already used some of his strength in this slap. With Feng Ling's cultivation base, she would definitely die from this slap. However, the arrogant middle-aged man's palm was caught by a large hand halfway. A dark-faced young man had appeared in front of Feng Ling without her noticing and grabbed the icily arrogant middle-aged man's wrist. The black-faced young man was Lu Ming. Just now, he had gone to the outskirts of the Windy Plains to check out the situation. He had not found anything unusual, so he returned to the village. He did not expect to see this scene. "Big brother Lu." Feng Ling called out subconsciously. "I'm sorry I'm late." Lu Ming nodded to Feng Ling and the village chief. "Brat, you dare to stop me? You're courting death." The arrogant middle-aged man saw that the person who was holding him was a black-faced young man who looked very ordinary. In addition to the conversation between Lu Ming and Feng Ling, he thought that Lu Ming was from this small village. He immediately roared and his killing intent burst out. Boom! The essential core in his body exploded, trying to break Lu Ming's palm. However, Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He clenched his fist and a terrifying force rushed towards the other party. And NBSP Kacha Kacha? In an instant, the icily arrogant middle-aged man's true energy was scattered. The bones in his arm were broken inch by inch, like a piece of mud. My hand. The icily arrogant middle-aged man screamed in pain. Bang! Lu Ming grabbed the cold and arrogant middle-aged man's arm, lifted him up, and threw him heavily on the ground as if he was a broken sack. The ground trembled as the arrogant middle-aged man smashed a human-shaped hole in the ground. Lying in the hole, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. All the bones in his body were broken, and he was like a pool of mud. On the side, The other burly men of the Heavenly God sect and the green-robed young man were stunned for a moment. Then, a few of the burly men of the Heavenly God sect shouted crazily, "Brat, you dare to hit the people of my Tianshan sect, you're looking for death. I'm going to skin you alive." "You're too noisy," Lu Ming said coldly. He moved his body and then heard banging sounds and shrill screams. When Lu Ming reappeared, the people from the deity sect and the green-robed young man were all lying on the ground, wailing. They were stacked on top of each other, and it was unknown how many bones in their bodies had been broken. Their storage rings were all in Lu Ming's hands. Chapter 1568, 1568 Chapter 1568 Kill one, if they come I'll spare your lives today. Next time, I'll definitely kill you. Lu Ming spoke with a cold killing intent. Then he kicked out. The 5 or 6 people from the deity sect and the desire poison sect were sent flying like a ball. They disappeared into the sky and flew for an unknown distance. If not for the small village, Lu Ming would have already killed these people. At the side, the village chief and Feng Ling were dumbfounded. It was only then that they realized that Lu Ming, who had lived with them for 3 months, was also an unfathomable expert. "Village chief, are you all right?" Lu Ming asked. "It's nothing serious. Sigh, I'm just afraid that these people will come back." The village chief sighed. "If they come again, I'll kill them one by one." Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a sharp glint. Then, Lu Ming passed the storage rings that he had obtained from the Heaven God sect and the Yu-Du sect to the village chief. However, the village chief did not dare to take out the villagers' furniture for fear that other experts would see them and bring trouble to himself. The village chief even walked into the ancestral hall and put away those memorial tablets. As for Lu Ming, he sat down on a chair in the village chief's courtyard and waited quietly. There was a small mountain peak outside the sky and wind plains. A few young men in white robes stood with their hands behind their backs and looked into the distance. "Those guys are getting more and more daring. I told them to go to the small village to inquire about the situation, but they haven't returned yet." One of the young men said coldly, "Wait for a while more. If he hasn't returned, you guys go and check." The young man in the middle seemed to be the leader of the group. Soon, a few hours had passed, and a few middle-aged men were flying towards the mountain peak in a hurry. These middle-aged men were the people who had gone to the small mountain village just now. Although they had all their bones broken by Lu Ming, they were all martial emperors and had extremely strong vitality. They had recovered a little by now and had rushed over. "What's going on?" The young man in the lead swept his gaze around and discovered that a few of the burly men were injured. A sharp glint flashed through his eyes. "Young Master Luo, you have to seek justice for us. We found the phoenix incense wood in that small village. We wanted to bring it to show our respect to young Master Luo, but there was an expert in that small village. Not only did he refuse to give it to us, but he also beat us up. He was so arrogant that he didn't even put our Tianshan sect in his eyes." The cold and arrogant middle-aged man shouted. "Phoenix incense wood? That small village has phoenix incense wood?" The eyes of young Master Luo and the other young men lit up. "That's right, there's indeed phoenix incense wood, and there's quite a lot of it." The arrogant middle-aged man said, "Humph, people from a small village actually dare to hit the people of my Tianshan sect. You're really looking for death. Let's go." Young Master Luo shouted coldly, and with a few other young men and middle-aged men, he flew towards the small village in an aggressive manner. Nearby, the others saw this and revealed curious expressions. The people of the Heavenly God sect are so aggressive. What do they want to do? Could it be that someone has offended the Tianshan sect? Look at the direction they're heading. It seems to be that small village. Interesting, let's go and take a look. Let's go and take a look. There were quite a few people in the vicinity, and they followed young Master Luo and the others towards the small village. In the small village, in the village chief's courtyard, Lu Ming was sitting on a chair, resting with his eyes closed. The village chief and Feng Ling, on the other hand, seemed rather anxious. They were afraid of the revenge of the Tianshan sect. Suddenly, Lu Ming opened his eyes and said coldly, "They're here." The village chief's face paled. "Buzz. And NBSP whoosh." From the north, young Master Luo and the others stepped on the air and arrived above the village chief's courtyard. They looked down at Lu Ming and the rest. "You are the one who injured the people of my heavenly god sect?" Young Master Luo glared at Lu Ming coldly. "Not bad." Lu Ming replied indifferently. "It's fine if it's you. Take your own life so that I don't have to do it." Young Master Luo said coldly. "Hee hee." He sneered and was too lazy to answer young Master Luo's question. Instead, he looked at the middle-aged men behind young Master Luo and said, "I just said that if you come again, I'll kill you. It seems that you didn't take my words seriously." "Brat, don't be so arrogant. You're the one who's going to die today." The arrogant middle-aged man shouted. "Is that so?" Lu Ming's eyes glowed even more sharply. "You're looking for death, kill?" Young Master Luo said in a cold voice. A cold, killing intent burst out from his body. His powerful aura burst out and enveloped the entire village. Lu Ming actually dared to ignore him. A lowly ant from a small village actually dared to ignore him. He was a heaven's favorite of the Divine Sky sect, with a cultivation at the peak of the 6th level of the Martial Royal Realm. The aura of the peak LV6 Martial Emperor Realm enveloped the entire village. The huge pressure even made some villagers kneel down in fear. "I'm telling you, I'm not from this village. If you need anything, just look for me. It has nothing to do with the villagers." Lu Ming said coldly. "Unrelated? I'm telling you, not only will you die today, but all these lowly ants will die." Young Master Luo said coldly. Boom. A huge palm condensed and descended from the sky. It was as if it covered the sky and the sun, enveloping the entire village. He wanted to flatten this village with a single palm strike. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming was furious. He was completely furious. An extremely cold killing intent burst out. He had been tolerating them because he was worried about the villagers. Previously, he had not killed those middle-aged men because he was worried about the villagers. But now it seemed that for a sect like the Tianshan sect, it was useless to be patient. They could only kill. Kill until the other party was afraid, and then they would naturally retreat. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch and a fist force sword into the sky, shattering the huge palm print. Lu Ming stepped into the air and charged towards young Master Luo and the rest. His powerful aura pressed down on the other party. "I've already given you a chance. You're the ones who are seeking death," Lu Ming said coldly. "Peak LV6 Martial Royal Realm? No wonder you're so arrogant. But let me tell you, there's a world of difference in combat strength between the same level of cultivation," young Master Luo said. A spear of divine punishment appeared in his hand. He took a step forward and thrust the spear at Lu Ming. However, he was met with Lu Ming's punch. The punch was destructive. When it hit the spear of God punishment, the spear of God punishment was shattered. The terrifying fist force broke young Master Luo's defense and hit his dantian, penetrating it. Young Master Luo's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't understand how an ordinary young man he met in a small village could be so terrifying. He was at the same level as him, but he killed him in one move. He was a heaven's chosen of the Tianshan sect. "How dare you!" The other young men and the middle-aged men were so scared that their faces turned pale and they stuttered. This dark-skinned young man had killed young Master Luo with one punch. Chapter 1569, 1569 Chapter 1569 Meeting Acquaintances, Kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His eyes were like lightning, and his killing intent was like a knife as he charged at the other young men. The fist radiance seemed to be able to crush everything. The few young men were killed before they could even scream. Then, his cold gaze swept over the few middle-aged men. The few middle-aged men were covered in cold sweat and their faces were pale. "Spare me, spare me!" The arrogant middle-aged man was the first to kneel down, his body trembling. "I've said it before, if you come again, I'll kill you. But you didn't take my words to heart, so you're asking for death." Lu Ming said coldly and then smacked his palm down. The middle-aged men were only low-level Martial Royal Realm martial artists. How could they stop him? They were killed by a single palm. What a domineering method. Not far away, There were other people who had come to watch the show. At this time, they were also amazed. No one had expected that a person from a small village would be so bold and powerful. He had killed the people of the Heavenly God sect, including a few Heaven's Pride experts, with such a crushing force. There's going to be a good show. There are more than a few people from the Heavenly God sect. I'm afraid that many experts have gone crazy. That's right. It won't be long before the people of the Heavenly God sect come to kill us. These people discussed and retreated. They're all dead. The village chief was dumbfounded, and then he was worried. He had killed so many people from the Heavenly God sect. The Heavenly God sect would definitely come for revenge. What should he do? Village chief was worried. Village chief, do you have any intention of moving to another place to live? Lu Ming asked. This small village was too weak. In this world of martial Dao, it could be destroyed at any time. Just like today, if it was not for Lu Ming, Feng Ling would most likely have been killed. In that case, it would be difficult for the village chief to survive. In the end, if he angered the cold and arrogant middle-aged man and the others, the entire village would also be destroyed. This was because the village didn't have a powerful martial force, but it had phoenix incense wood. In the past, it hadn't been discovered, but now that it had been discovered, it was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. This was the sorrow of the weak. Grandpa, let's leave this place. Feng Ling advised. Sai, we also want to leave, but in the Tsang region, there are powerful beasts everywhere. Even one emperor-level beast can easily destroy our village. But here, we are close to the Heavenly Wind Plains. The Heavenly Wind Plains has a phoenix that can scare away all the beasts, so we are safe. As for those big cities, we have to spend a large number of raw gemstones to live in them. We don't have that many raw gemstones. The village chief sighed. It wasn't that they didn't want to leave, but they had nowhere to go. Village chief, I have a Grotto Heaven treasure. You can enter the Grotto Heaven treasure first. After that, it'll bring you to a place. Lu Ming said after a moment of silence. There were only a few dozen families in this village. Lu Ming planned to send them to the Lu clan's fort. The Lu clan's fort was extremely spacious. A small piece of land was enough to house a few dozen families. An estate world treasure. The village chief revealed a shocked expression. It seemed like this little brother Lu in front of him had an astonishing background. All right, they'll call the villagers over. They'll have to trouble you later, Brother Lu. The village chief bowed to Lu Ming and then hurried away to call the other villagers. Lu Ming waved his hand and all the villagers were kept into the mountain and river diagram. Then, Lu Ming sat there and waited quietly. At this moment, the news of an impressive villager killing a few Heaven's Pride experts of the Heavenly God sect had already spread in the outskirts of the Heavenly Wind Plains. The Heavenly God sect will definitely take revenge on such powerful villagers. Let's go and take a look. Let's go! As the rainbow light whistled, one figure after another came to the small village and stood around it. And no one? Could he have already escaped? No, there's one person. Many people's gazes swept across and finally landed on Lu Ming. Senior brother, senior sister. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd and actually found someone familiar. Tian Chui and Xuaning Xin. The Dragon God Valley was quite far from here. He didn't expect that Tian Chui and Xuaning Xin would also appear here. Tian Chui and Xuaning Xin, like the others, stood at a distance and sized Lu Ming up curiously. That is, Mo Yang actually came. What a beautiful woman. Who is that woman? There was a sudden commotion in the crowd, and everyone looked in one direction. In that direction, there were about a dozen people. There were 2 young men and women, and a dozen old men and men. All of them had extremely powerful auras and demonic qi. Nianqing. Lu Ming's eyes lit up when he saw one of them. The most beautiful woman among the 2 young men and women was actually Xian Yanqing. The other person was Mo Yang, one of the top 10 geniuses of the Azure continent. Lu Ming's gaze landed on Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanqing looked back at him at the same time. When their eyes met, Xian Yanqing was slightly stunned. Then, a smile appeared in her eyes and she winked at Lu Ming. He had been recognized. Lu Ming smiled. He was too familiar with Xian Yanqing. No matter how much a person changed his appearance, his aura and appearance could change, but the look in his eyes would never change. Clearly, Xian Yanqing recognized Lu Ming through his eyes. Lu Ming shook his head slightly at Xian Yanqing, who nodded in return. What Lu Ming meant was not to reveal his identity for the time being. Xian Yanqing naturally understood Lu Ming's intention. Besides Xian Yanqing, Mo Yang seemed to have noticed Xian Yanqing's unusual behavior. He looked at Lu Ming with a cold and suspicious look in his eyes. "The people of the Heavenly God sect are here," someone exclaimed. In the distance, there were at least a few dozen figures flying over. All of them were dressed in white robes and had powerful auras. There were young, middle-aged, and old people. The person at the front was bathed in holy light, like a myriad of stars surrounding the moon. Lu Ming recognized this person at one glance. A year and a half ago, Yu Xing had been the leader of the Tianshan sect during the treasure auction. He was extremely talented and had amazing combat strength. A year and a half later, Yu Xing had become even stronger. His powerful aura filled the air and was extremely terrifying. The early stage of LV8 Martial Royal Realm. This was Yu Xing's cultivation base. Clearly, he had made rapid progress in the past 1.5 years. The people of the Heavenly God sect stood in the sky above the village. Their eyes swept across the village and finally landed on Lu Ming. "So you're the one who killed the Heaven's Pride expert of my Heavenly God sect?" Yu Xing said coldly. "Not bad." Lu Ming replied indifferently. "You're really audacious. You're simply courting death. Where are the other villagers? Where have you hidden them? Hand them all over and die." A middle-aged man beside Yu Xing shouted. He exuded the aura of a peak LV7 Martial Royal Realm. As expected of a large sect. So impressive, so domineering. A disciple of the sect came to this remote mountain village to bully ordinary villagers and even try to steal an ancestor's memorial tablet. As expected of the #1 sect in the Azure region. Lu Ming sneered. His tone was full of ridicule, especially the self-address. Chapter 1570. 1570. He is Lu Ming. Lu Ming's words made everyone from the Heavenly God sect look extremely ugly. What? He actually stole someone else's tablet? You are indeed a disciple of the Tianshan sect. It's so embarrassing. Such a sect can actually be as famous as my Dragon God Valley. I spit. A deep voice resounded. It was Tianshu. Since the last treasure auction, the relationship between Dragon God Valley and Tianshan's sect had worsened. Now that he had the opportunity, Tianchu naturally wanted to ridicule them. "Nonsense. Brat, you dare to slander my Tianshan sect. Today I will make you beg for death." The burly man at the peak of the 7th level Martial Emperor realm roared and stepped forward. He clawed with his hand and a huge khaki hand formed in the sky, grabbing toward Lu Ming. A small knife appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was the knife he used to carve the statue. Lu Ming threw the knife. The small knife seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning, piercing through the big yellow hand and then continued to rush towards the big man. The big man's face changed. A giant axe appeared in his hand and he chopped at the small knife. Clang. The huge axe hit the small knife and the knife was sent flying. It returned to Lu Ming's hand. The burly man's body shook violently and he took 5 to 6 steps back. He spat out a mouthful of blood. What? Many onlookers' expressions changed drastically as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. They could clearly see that the small knife that Lu Ming had thrown out was definitely an ordinary small knife, an extremely ordinary spirit weapon. However, such a small knife that was casually thrown out had actually forced a 7th level peak martial emperor back and made him spit out blood. This kind of power was too terrifying. They did not know that Lu Ming's attack was covered by a level 6 chaos domain. It was as heavy as a mountain. How difficult would it be to injure an ordinary 7th level martial emperor? "Who are you?" Yu Xing said with a serious expression. He didn't believe that a small village on the border would have such an expert. "He's just a carpenter from a small village." Lu Ming replied indifferently. Everyone looked at each other. A carpenter? It was actually so powerful? You're just pretending. Let's see how long you can keep up this act. An elder stepped out with a spear of divine punishment in his hand and stabbed it at Lu Ming. The other expert made his move as well. A terrifying sword light was aimed at Lu Ming's head. The two of them were both at the LV-8 martial royal realm. They were working together to kill Lu Ming in one move. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He took a heavy step and soared into the sky, avoiding the sword light and throwing a punch. Boom! And NBSP, the spear of God punishment from the old man, shattered, but the fist energy didn't stop and continued to bombard the old man. The old man screamed as his body was torn apart. A LV-8 martial royal realm expert was killed by Lu Ming in one move. Then, Lu Ming flipped his hand and threw the knife in his hand at another person who attacked. The man was shocked and tried to block the attack with his sword. However, the powerful force on the knife numbed his arm. At this moment, Lu Ming was already charging at him. Boom! With a single punch, heaven and earth trembled. The man's body was directly penetrated, and his body flew a few thousand meters away. He fell heavily on the ground, and no longer had any breath. Many people gasped at the sight of him killing two LV-8 martial royal realm experts in an instant. He's so powerful. His cultivation is only at the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm, but he has such powerful combat strength. He killed two LV-8 martial royal realm experts in an instant. He's comparable to a top heaven's favorite. Could this person be a top-notch heaven's favorite? The people in the surroundings were discussing and speculating. You're looking for death. Yu Sheng's eyes were extremely cold. He stepped out, and holy light filled the air. A terrible pressure pressed down on Lu Ming. Many people thought that Yu Sheng was going to make a move. Yu Sheng was a heaven's favorite with a superior grade earth spiritual body. His combat strength was terrifying. Although he was also at LV-8 martial royal realm, his combat strength was many times stronger than the previous two. Yu Sheng would probably be able to kill the two of them in one move. Kill! Yu Sheng shouted coldly. He also condensed a spear of divine punishment in his hand and stabbed it at Lu Ming. The spear of divine punishment was incomparably sharp and powerful. It was far from what that person had been able to compare with. Boom! Lu Ming's method of fighting was still very simple. He simply threw a punch. A terrifying vibration was heard. The spear of God's punishment in Yu Sheng's hand was shaking violently as if it would collapse at any moment. The terrifying power continued to rush toward Yu Sheng, causing his expression to change. Boom! Following that, Lu Ming's other hand also punched out. Yu Sheng's expression changed. He struck out with his other palm and collided with Lu Ming's fist. There was another loud boom. Yu Sheng's face turned pale and he retreated quickly. In a head-on confrontation, he was actually suppressed by Lu Ming. A year and a half ago, Lu Ming was able to kill a genius like Yu Sheng even though his cultivation was 2 levels lower than Yu Sheng's. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak of the 6th level martial emperor realm, while Yu Sheng was at the early stage of the 8th level martial emperor realm. The difference was less than 2 levels. Kill, die! Lu Ming shouted as his fists flew towards Yu Sheng. Yu Sheng let out a long roar and burst out with holy light. He used all his strength to fight Lu Ming. The two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves, and Yu Sheng was forced to retreat. Let's attack together. Let's join forces and kill this person. The rest of the people from the Heavenly God sect shouted and rushed forward to surround Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long roar. A dragon's roar sounded from within his body. With a loud shout, the divine sword technique burst out. The people who were charging at Lu Ming screamed in pain as if their souls were being torn apart. The black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. With a shake of the spear, rays of spear radiance shot out like lightning. More than 10 powerhouses of the Tianshan sect were killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Lu Ming, he's Lu Ming. Yu Sheng's eyes widened as he roared. What? He's Lu Ming? Kill him. Use your saint weapon. The remaining people of the Heavenly God sect shouted. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. A few of them exuded a powerful aura, and a few saint weapons appeared, shining with terrifying light. It's actually Lu Ming. Kill him. Not far away, Some of the Yudu sect's powerhouses had also taken out their holy weapons and were charging at Lu Ming. And NBSP at this moment, the nearby spectators were stunned. Lu Ming? This person was Lu Ming? The Lu Ming whose name had spread throughout the Azure region a year and a half ago, the Lu Ming who wanted to challenge the Divine Sun in the next treasure-fixing assembly? He was actually hiding here, in a small mountain village on the border. Its junior brother Lu Ming. Kill! Tian Chui and Xuanixin were stunned for a moment before they roared and charged forward. Their saint weapons also flew out from their hands. Boom! Boom! A few experts of the Heavenly God sect were directly killed. Tian Chui and Xuanixin's cultivation had also progressed very quickly. They had both stepped into the LV-8 martial royal realm, which was the early stage of the LV-8, just like Yu Sheng. With their cultivation, how powerful would they be when they controlled holy weapons? Chapter 1571. 1571 How thick-skinned, people of the Sky Demon sect, attack and stop the Desire Poison sect. On the other side, Xian Yanqing ordered. Junior sister, what are you doing? Mo Yang shouted. Attack! Xian Yanqing spoke again, his face cold. Yes, holy maiden. The others responded, and together with Xian Yanqing, they charged towards the Desire Poison sect. Tian Yu Demon sect, what are you doing? Are you trying to go against my Desire Poison sect? The members of the Desire Poison sect all roared in anger. However, Xian Yanqing's face was cold. A black lotus floated above his head and pressed down. Some of the Yudu sect's powerhouses spat out blood and retreated. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the peak of LV-7 martial royal realm. His progress was amazing. The black lotus was clearly a holy weapon. Although the other members of the Tian Yu demonic sect didn't want to attack, they could only obey the saint's orders. Mo Yang stood not far away, his face cold. He did not make a move, but the experts from the Desire Poison sect were terrified. Mo Yang was one of the top 10 geniuses of the Tsong prefecture. His cultivation had long broken through to the half-saint realm. If he were to attack, they would be in danger. Retreat, retreat first. The Yudu sect's expert roared. He began to defend while retreating, no longer having the heart to fight. Meanwhile, Lu Ming had already unleashed his black wings and charged towards the Tianshan sect. His black dragon spear had grown to 1,000 meters long. He struck out with the spear and sent a holy weapon flying. At the same time, the black dragon spear stabbed out like lightning, killing an expert at the peak of the 8th level martial royal realm. Then, the black wings slashed out like blades, killing a LV-7 martial royal realm and a LV-8 martial royal realm expert. As for Tian Chui and Xuanixin, they also displayed their godly might. Tian Chui's giant hammer was now a saint weapon, and every swing of his hammer was extremely powerful. Even a saint weapon would be knocked away by his hammer, and with a single swing, it would be either dead or injured. Xuanixin, on the other hand, was controlling a 7-colored holy weapon, which was also very powerful. Although there were only 3 of them, Lu Ming and the rest had suppressed the many experts of the Heavenly God sect. People were being killed continuously. Let's go! In the end, Yu Sheng let out a loud roar and took the rest of the people with him. They turned around and fled at top speed, leaving more than 20 corpses behind. Lu Ming and the other 2 didn't pursue them. The remaining people were at the 9th level of the martial royal realm and had holy weapons. They were determined to escape, so it wouldn't be easy to kill them. Ha, junior brother, so you're here. You've disappeared without a trace this year, and I haven't heard any news about you. Tian Chui put away his giant hammer and gave Lu Ming a heavy pat, laughing out loud. I was about to return to Dragon God Valley. I didn't expect to meet my senior brothers and sisters here. Lu Ming smiled as well. His body changed into his original appearance. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing's cold voice was heard as he stepped into the air. Like a demoness, he attracted everyone's attention. She's so beautiful. Is she the saint of the Tianyu demonic sect? I think so. I heard that the sect master of the Tianyu demon sect took in a new saintess as a disciple and trained her with all his might. Some people were discussing. Little Qing. Lu Ming smiled. The two of them looked at each other affectionately. Everything was conveyed without words. Tian Chue's gaze fell on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. He grinned. "The junior brother, this must be your sister-in-law. She's really beautiful. She's the golden boy and jade girl with you, a match made in heaven. Junior brother, sister-in-law is so beautiful. Why didn't you introduce her to us? You must be punished." Xuanixin also joked. Haha. Lu Ming smiled and began to introduce them. Xian Yanqing also politely bowed to Tian Chue and Xuanixin, making them extremely happy. "Junior sister, let's leave this place first. They have killed so many people of the Heavenly God sect. The Heavenly God sect will not let this matter rest. We must not get involved." At this moment, a discordant voice was heard. Mo Yang walked over with a cold expression. When he looked at Lu Ming, a hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. "You guys can leave first. I want to be with Lu Ming," Xian Yanqing said. "Junior sister, Mo Yang's expression turned even colder. He looked at Lu Ming with intense jealousy, and the killing intent in the depths of his eyes turned even colder. When Xian Yanqing first joined the Tianyu demon sect, Mo Yang had been in seclusion. He only came out when the treasure auction was about to begin. When he saw Xian Yanqing, he was instantly shocked. She was his junior sister, and in his heart, Xian Yanqing was already his woman. When he heard that Xian Yanqing had a boyfriend, he was filled with jealousy and killing intent. Therefore, back then at Song Mountain, that was why he would make a move to stop Zifeng. "Junior sister, this place is not safe. It's more suitable for me to stay with you." Mo Yang's eyes flickered as he spoke. This made Xian Yanqing frown. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent. How could Lu Ming not see through Mo Yang's thoughts? Sister-in-law has already let some people go. Some people are really thick-skinned and insist on following her shamelessly. Aren't they ashamed? Tian Chue sneered. "What did you just say?" Mo Yang said with a dark expression. "What did I say? Someone knows what I'm talking about." Tian Chue curled his lips. Mo Yang snorted coldly. He looked at Xian Yanqing and said, "Junior sister, you have to think this through. Our Tianyu demon sect and Dragon God Valley are, after all, different sections. Moreover, Lu Ming has challenged the Divine Sun. In a year and a half, he will definitely be killed by the Divine Sun. He won't live for long. It's not too late for you to leave him now." Mo Yang. Xian Yanqing snorted coldly. His face was unusually cold. "Let me tell you, 1.5 years later, Lu Ming won't die. The one who will die will be the Divine Sun. Also, I only respect you because you're my senior brother. If anyone else had said such words, I would have already taken action. Now, please leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you." "Junior sister, Mo Yang's expression was extremely unsightly. In the end, he gave Lu Ming a cold and gloomy look, then turned around and left. The other members of the Tianyu demonic sect also left with Mo Yang. "Lu Ming, I'm sorry." Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming apologetically. You and I don't need to say such things. Besides, this shows that you are very charming. If such a charming beauty likes me, I will have a greater sense of achievement," Lu Ming said with a smile. "You're so smug." Xian Yanqing also smiled. "Oh right, little Qing, why are you here?" Lu Ming asked. The Tianyu demonic sect and the Dragon God Valley were neighbors, but they were far from the western part of the Azure continent. Why would Xian Yanqing and the others be here? Even if they had heard the news and wanted to rush over, they wouldn't have been able to do it so quickly. Mo Yang and I, as well as other people from the Tianyu demonic sect, were hunting down a traitor of the Tianyu demonic sect. We happened to be in the vicinity, and we heard the news, so we rushed over to take a look," Xian Yanqing said. After that, Lu Ming went to ask the Sky Hammer and Xuanixin. It turned out that the two of them were adventuring outside and had just arrived in the west of Cangzhou. After hearing the news, they had rushed over to watch. Chapter 1572, 1572 Chapter 1572 Entering the Windy Plains, there's a change in the heavenly wind plains. What? Let's go and take a look. At this time, a piece of news came. The surrounding people all flew towards the sky wind plains. Is there a change in the heavenly wind plains? The expressions of Lu Ming and the other three changed. Junior brother, how about we go and take a look? Tianxue said. All right, let's go. Immediately, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Tianxue, and Xuaningxin flew towards the windy plains. At this moment, another cry of a phoenix could be heard from the heavenly wind plains. The cry was filled with despair and unwillingness. The phoenix's cry is getting softer and softer. It seems to be getting weaker and weaker. Lu Ming said, could it be that the divine bird phoenix is about to fall, so it keeps chirping? Xian Yanqing guessed. It's not impossible. Lu Ming said. Very quickly, the four of them arrived at the outskirts of the heavenly wind plains. The heavenly wind plains was extremely vast. Many people were standing in the air outside the plains. Lu Ming and the other three stood at the back, not at all eye-catching. And NBSP hoo-hoo. In the sky and wind plain, the wind was howling. Giant tornadoes swept across the sky and the earth. There were many of them, and they were densely packed. From a distance, it was a spectacular sight. No one knew how these tornadoes were formed. It seemed to have suddenly appeared 80,000 years ago. Some people guessed that there had been a terrifying battle between experts here, and it was formed by the power of laws. Some people also guessed that it was formed because a large array had been set up inside. There were many different opinions, and no one agreed on the answer. But now, some of the tornadoes were actually moving, slowly moving towards the depths of the plains. And as time passed, more and more tornadoes were moving in the same direction, towards the depths of the breezy plains. Slowly, the tornadoes on the heaven wind plain became less and less violent. At this time, the cry of a phoenix was heard again, and it seemed to be more clear. The heavenly wind has retreated, so something must have happened inside. There must be a treasure inside. In any forbidden land, opportunities and dangers coexist. Now that the heavenly wind has retreated, it's a once-in-lifetime opportunity. Many people were moved, revealing a fiery gaze. Suddenly, someone moved. He rushed into the heavenly wind plain. He avoided the remaining tornadoes and quickly rushed into the depths of the heavenly wind plain. Seeing that the man was fine, more and more people started to move. They kept rushing towards the windy plains and disappeared from everyone's sight. Let's go in and take a look. If there's any danger, it won't be too late to retreat. More and more people rushed towards the sky and wind plains. Riches and honor were obtained from danger, and it was even more so for martial cultivators. One had to rely on themselves to grab opportunities. As the rainbow light flickered, countless figures rushed into the sky wind plains and disappeared. Lu Ming saw the people from the Yudu sect, Yu Sheng from the deity sect, Mo Yang, and the others also rushing into the sky wind plains. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming said. Just what I wanted. All right. Tianxue and the rest also nodded their heads. They then stepped forward and rushed into the sky wind plains. And NBSP hoo-hoo. As soon as they rushed into the sky wind plains, they felt the wind whistling like blades. They used their Jin Yuan to protect themselves from the wind. The four of them carefully avoided the tornadoes and rushed inside. There were still many tornadoes left, and they were constantly moving, but they were not fast. There were many gaps, enough for them to pass through easily. Very quickly, the three of them had flown over 1,000 miles. Not far away, there were people fighting. One of them was blown away and caught in a tornado. He let out a shrill scream. In the eyes of Lu Ming and the others, the man was crushed into pieces by the tornado. What a terrifying power! Tianxue said as he licked his lips. Lu Ming took out a 9th-level spiritual weapon and threw it at a tornado nearby. After the 9th-level spiritual weapon was sucked into the tornado, it was shattered into pieces within a few breaths by the terrifying wind. The four of them became serious. The power of the tornado was terrifying. No wonder it was said that even saints would be killed if they were caught in it. The four of them continued to move forward. Along the way, they saw that the ground was flat and barren. Buzz! Suddenly he saw a branch being thrown out of a tornado. It's phoenix incense wood, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Their eyesight was extremely good. Even though they were still a distance away, they could clearly see that there was a phoenix mark on the branch, which was the characteristic of the phoenix fragrance wood. According to the villagers, the phoenix incense wood they had obtained was also blown from the heavenly wind plains. The four of them hurriedly rushed towards the phoenix incense wood. This section of phoenix incense wood was 3 meters long and as thick as a human waist. It looked like a branch of a huge ancient tree. That's such a big piece. How many raw gemstones would it be worth? Tianshui laughed. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. Right at this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. 7 to 8 figures appeared and surrounded the four of them. Put down the phoenix incense wood, and then get lost. A black-robed old man coldly shouted. All of them were middle-aged or old men. They all had strong auras, and even the weakest of them was at LV8 Martial Emperor Realm. A few of them had even reached LV9 Martial Royal Realm. You're telling us to scram? You're the ones who should get lost. If you want to die, then come and try. A giant hammer appeared in Tianshui's hand as his eyes revealed a malevolent look. Stubborn. Kill. One of the black-robed men roared and took the lead, charging towards Tianshui. A long spear pierced out, filling the sky with spear shadows that enveloped Tianshu. Die! Tianshui let out a loud roar as his giant hammer smashed towards his opponent. Boom! The spear shadows that filled the sky disappeared, and the giant hammer directly struck the opponent's body. With a loud bang, the opponent's body was smashed flat, flying a few hundred meters away, without a trace of life. He was killed in one move. Let's join hands. The black-robed elder roared in anger. The aura of a peak LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert burst out, and a terrifying saber radiance slashed toward Lu Ming. These people were obviously not present when Lu Ming and the rest fought with the Heaven Deity sect. They did not know Lu Ming and the rest. If they had seen that battle, they would not have attacked Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. His essential core surged into the flowing elemental gloves and he threw a punch. Boom! The flowing essence gloves' weight had become shocking. Coupled with the chaos domain and the prison's suppressing heavenly art, its power was extremely terrifying. With a single punch, the other party's blade light immediately dispersed. The fist momentum did not stop as it continued to punch towards the black-robed elder. The black-robed old man's expression changed drastically, and he used his saber to block in front of him. Clang! Lu Ming's fist landed on the saber, causing it to explode. His fist did not stop and continued to land on the black-robed elder. The black-robed elder let out an indignant roar and his body exploded like his saber. He's only at the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm, but he doesn't even have a holy weapon. He's so weak. Lu Ming pursed his lips. Chapter 1573, 1573 Chapter 1573 Meeting Mo Yang again. If Lu Ming's words were heard by the people from the small sects, they would probably vomit blood in anger. A saint weapon was a special weapon used by saint realm experts. It was extremely precious, and very few people below the saint realm had it. Lu Ming had only encountered top geniuses who had holy weapons because they were heavily nurtured by their respective sections. Some of the smaller sects did not even have holy weapons. Even if some of them had holy weapons, they would be considered the sect's most prized treasures. Even in the 13 top sects of the Azure continent, most LV8 and LV9 martial emperors used king's spiritual weapons. Many half-saints even used king's spiritual weapons instead of holy weapons. Myriad Devil Domain. On the other side, Xian Yanqing shouted and spread out his domain. In his domain, there was a beautiful demoness sitting cross-legged, suppressing the surroundings. An old man in the LV9 Martial Emperor realm was enveloped by Xian Yanqing's all-demons domain. He roared madly and was killed by Xian Yanqing's palm. Myriad Devil Domain? It seems that little official's battle strength has become even more powerful after becoming a martial emperor. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was happy for Xian Yanqing. No wonder he was accepted as a direct disciple by the sect master of the Tianyu demon sect and became the saintess of the sect. Xian Yanking's astral body was definitely a superior one. Lu Ming could even vaguely sense that there was a terrifying power hidden in Xian Yanking's body. While Lu Ming was thinking about this, Tian Chui and Xuanixin had also killed one person each. Of the 7 to 8 experts, only 3 remained. Go, go! The remaining 3 people were almost scared to death as they fled frantically. Lu Ming and the other 2 could not be bothered to chase after them. These people were obviously from small sects, so they did not take them to heart. Well, split this section of phoenix incense wood equally. Lu Ming grabbed the phoenix incense wood and condensed his vital essence into a blade. He divided the phoenix incense wood into 4 portions, 1 for each of them, and put it away. Could there be a huge phoenix incense tree in the heavenly wind plains? Tian Chui licked his lips, revealing a fiery light. That section was obviously just a branch. If the branch was so big, how huge was the trunk? The divine bird phoenix lives in the heavenly wind plains. Perhaps it lives on the main branch of the phoenix incense wood. Lu Ming speculated. Then, the 4 of them continued forward. Junior sister. Not long after, a voice rang out, and Mo Yang flew over from the side. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Tian Chui, and Xuanixin all frowned. They had not expected to meet Mo Yang here. Junior sister, I finally found you. Mo Yang had a smile on his face as he flew over and looked at Xian Yanqing with concern. Someone really doesn't know what's going on. Sister-in-law already told you to leave, so why did you still come here? Tian Chui disdainfully said. Mo Yang glanced at Tian Chui, a sharp glint in his eyes. If Xian Yanqing had not been here, he would have already killed Tian Chui, Lu Ming, and the other 2. My junior sister is the saintess of the Tianyu demonic sect. I've been ordered to protect her. I must stay by her side. Mo Yang said. Mo Yang, I don't need your protection. Lu Ming will naturally protect me. Xian Yanqing frowned. Junior sister, I'm following master's orders. I don't dare to disobey. Otherwise, you'll be punished when I go back. So, even if you drive me away, I'll follow you. Mo Yang said. Fuck, some people's skin is even thicker than an elephant's. Tian Chui unhappily said. It's not just an elephant. It's even thicker than the city wall. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone as shameless as him. Xuanixin followed. Shut up. If you dare to insult me again, I'll kill you all. Die. Mo Yang shouted. A violent aura spread out from his body, and the demonic qi soared into the sky. The dense demonic qi was like a burning flame. Bang, bang. Tian Chui and Xuanixin were suppressed by this aura, and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Buzz. Lu Ming appeared in front of Tian Chui and Xuanixin. He spread his black wings to resist Mo Yang's aura. Mo Yang was one of the top 10 geniuses of the Azure region. His cultivation had long reached the half-saint realm, and he was definitely not someone they could defeat. Mo Yang, they're my friends. If you want to touch them, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Xian Yanqing appeared beside Lu Ming and glared at Mo Yang. Mo Yang's eyes were filled with flames of jealousy, as if they were about to burn. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. He suddenly smiled and said, Junior sister is overthinking. They are your friends, why would I do anything to them? Let's go, I'll go with you. There might be some great treasures in the heavenly wind plains. Xian Yanqing looked at Mo Yang coldly. She was helpless. Mo Yang had insisted on following her. With no one else in the group, they continued forward. The heavenly wind plain was huge. They continued to travel for thousands of miles, passing through many huge tornadoes, and slowly entered the heavenly wind plain. On the way, she heard the phoenix cry a few more times, but it felt like the sound was getting softer and softer. Look over there, there seems to be a piece of phoenix incense wood. Suddenly, Mo Yang pointed in a direction. Everyone looked over, and indeed, on the left, they saw a section of phoenix incense wood. There were huge, exposed boulders. The boulders were very smooth, probably because they had been worn out by the wind. The phoenix incense wood was right between the huge rocks. Everyone rushed over. No one noticed the smug sneer in Mo Yang's eyes, as well as the cold killing intent. Not good, there's an ambush. Retreat. As they neared the Phoenix Incense Wood, Lu Ming felt an inexplicable sense of danger. He roared and tried to pull Xian Yanqing and the rest back. But it was too late. In a flash, at least a dozen figures rushed out from behind the boulders and surrounded Lu Ming and the five of them. Yu Sheng, the Heaven Deity Sect, and the Desire Poison Sect. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the room and he noticed that one of them was Yu Sheng. As for the others, they weren't young anymore. From their clothes, there were people from the Heaven God Sect and the Desire Poison Sect. Lu Ming, this time, I'll see how you die. Yu Sheng's eyes were cold. This brat killed so many of our people. He's really seeking his own death. A white-haired old man from the Heavenly God Sect coldly spoke. An extremely shocking aura erupted from his body. Half-saint. Lu Ming, Tian Chui, Xuaningxin, and Xian Yanqing's expressions changed drastically. The other party had dispatched a half-saint expert. Boom. Boom. Following that, a few more terrifying auras burst out. The terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming and the rest. Half-saint again. The Deity Sect and the Yu Du Sect both had half-saints. There were 3 half-saints in total. Although the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm was 1 level away from the half-saint realm, the difference was huge. It was not as simple as 1 level. Tian Chui and Xuaningxin, who were at the early stage of the LV8 Martial Royal Realm, could even kill an ordinary peak LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert. However, they were no match for a half-saint. Not to mention, there were 3 half-saints. A year and a half ago, when Lu Ming returned to Dragon God Valley from the Tsang Mountains, he was besieged by evil spirit. Just a half-saint had almost forced Lu Ming into a dead end. Chapter 1574, 1574 Chapter 1574 Charging into the tornado, it was obvious that the Heaven Deity Sect and the Yu Du Sect were determined to kill Lu Ming and the rest. Moreover, in the Skygale Plain, Lu Ming and the rest would die without even knowing how they died. The Dragon God Valley could not avenge them. It was normal to die in the Forbidden Area. The 2 of you from the Tian Yu Demon Sect, this matter has nothing to do with you. You can leave now. The white-haired elder of the Tianshan sect looked at Mo Yang and Xian Yanqing. All right, well, leave immediately. Mo Yang hurriedly said. No, I want leave. Xian Yanqing shook his head. He stood beside Lu Ming with a determined look in his eyes. Junior sister, what are you doing? Lu Ming is extremely audacious to have offended the Deity Sect and the Desire Poison Sect. He's the one who's courting death. Why do you have to accompany him? Mo Yang roared, extremely jealous. If you want to go, go by yourself. It's my own life I choose. Xian Yanqing said coldly. No, you're my junior sister, the holy virgin of my Tian Yu demonic sect. If something happens to you, how am I going to explain it to my master and the entire Tian Yu demonic sect? I must take you away. Mo Yang said firmly. Little Qing, you go. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. No, I want to stay with you. Xian Yanqing shook his head. His gaze was firm. He knew that Lu Ming was doing this for her own good, but she would not leave. Buzz. Right at this moment, Mo Yang made his move. He grabbed Xian Yanqing's shoulder and poured in his nomological law power, sealing Xian Yanqing's cultivation. Then he grabbed Xian Yanqing and retreated at top speed. Mo Yang, let me go. Xian Yanqing roared. I won't let you go. I won't let you die with Lu Ming. Mo Yang said coldly. He grabbed Xian Yanqing and left the encirclement. Do it. As Mo Yang and Xian Yanqing retreated, the white-haired elder from the Tianshan sect roared. A long spear appeared in his hand. It exuded a terrifyingly sharp aura as he stabbed it at Lu Ming. Without a doubt, this was a holy weapon. While black wings appeared on Lu Ming's back. At the same time, the holy weapon shield appeared in front of him. Clang! The long spear struck the holy shield and sent it flying. The long spear did not stop and continued to stab the black wings. Lu Ming felt his body tremble as he was sent flying by a terrifying force. On the other side, Tian Chui and Xuaningxin used their saint weapons at the same time. However, the opponent's half-saint had also made his move. He was also controlling his saint weapon, and the power was shocking. Tian Chui and Xuanixin were no match for him. They were sent flying like Lu Ming. Their blood and qi were in turmoil, and they almost vomited blood. "Don't linger in battle, let's go first." With a flap of his black wings, Lu Ming appeared beside Tian Chui and Xuanixin. This time, the Heaven Deity sect and the Yu Du sect were well prepared. 3 half-saints wielded holy weapons, and even a few 9th-level martial royal realm experts wielded holy weapons. Their combat strength was extremely strong, far beyond their current strength. "Bubble!" Lu Ming called out. Trip. Bubbles waved her little claws and a space-time tunnel appeared. The 3 of them were about to cross the space-time tunnel and leave this place. "You want to leave? Dream on." Another half-saint of the Tianxin sect shouted coldly and waved his hand. A huge cauldron the size of a mountain crushed over and suppressed the entrance of the space-time tunnel, blocking the way of the 3. "Charge out, in the direction of the Yu Du sect." Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Tian Chui and Xuanixin. Although the Yu Du sect's poison qi was very powerful and could kill without a trace, its frontal attack power was far inferior to that of the Tianxin sect. Since the space-time tunnel was blocked, they would forcibly charge out from the Yu Du sect's direction. "Kill!" Tian Chui roared. The 3 of them gathered together and controlled their saint weapons, madly charging in the direction of the Yu Du sect. Bush, bush. At the side, all sorts of attacks were launched at the 3 of them. Lu Ming controlled the holy weapon shield and the black wings to defend with all his might, enveloping the 3 of them. Thump. Boom! All sorts of attacks landed on Lu Ming's shield and black wings, creating a loud boom. Lu Ming's body trembled as his qi and blood churned and blood seeped out of the corners of his mouth. "Kill, kill, kill!" Tian Chui roared madly while Xuanixin roared like a dragon. The 2 of them combined their strength and continued to charge forward. The 2's combat strength was indeed astonishing. No one could stop them unless they were at the half-saint level. A few of the Yu Du sect's experts were blasted apart by Tian Chui's giant hammer, turning into poisonous gas and retreating. The 3 of them cooperated and charged in that direction. They were about to break out of the encirclement. "Poison Ibis Law, go around." The half-saint of the Desire Poison sect was seething with poisonous gas. He shouted and pressed his hands in the air. Countless poisonous vines suddenly appeared in the air. Each poisonous vine was full of thorns. They covered the sky and covered the sun, shrouding Lu Ming and the other 2. "Not good." Lu Ming's expression changed. This kind of poisonous ivy was formed from the law of poisonous ivy. It was filled with poison and was extremely tough. Tian Chui and Xuanixin's attacks landed on the poison ivy, but they were unable to break through it. The poison ivy surrounded the 3 of them from all directions and quickly closed up. The black wings enlarged and wrapped around the 3 of them, forming a round ball. In the next moment, the poison Ibis Law arrived, and wrapped around the round ball formed by Black Feather Wing. Zzzzzzz. The poisonous vines wrapped around the black wings, making an ear-piercing sound, but the black wings were saint weapons, after all, and the poisonous vines couldn't break them. Even the lowest-level bright saint weapon couldn't be broken by a half-saint expert. Only a saint realm expert could break a saint weapon by force. What's the point of hiding in your turtle shell? Let's see if your saint weapon can protect you in that tornado. The half-saint of the Yu Du sect said coldly. He controlled the poisonous vine and it flew towards a tornado. When it approached one of the tornadoes, the half-saint of the Yu Du sect threw out a palm and the poisonous vine that had wrapped around Lu Ming and the others flew directly into one of the tornadoes. Lu Ming! In the distance, Xian Yanqing roared and struggled madly. However, Mo Yang held him tightly and he could not move. Lu Ming, no matter how strong you are, you'll still die if you go against the Tianxin sect. Yu Xing laughed. And NBSP hoo-hoo. The tornado whistled through the air in a terrifying manner. It was slowly moving towards the depths of the heavenly wind plains. Those from the Heaven Deity sect and the Yu Du sect watched from the outside for a while. Seeing that there was no movement, they left one after another. Emma Yang, let me go. Xian Yanqing roared. His beautiful eyes were filled with a trace of blood and cold killing intent. Junior sister, what are you doing? Lu Ming and the rest were sent into the tornado and they're dead for sure. They deserve this. Who asked them to offend the deity sect and the desire poison sect? Mo Yang laughed coldly, but his heart was filled with joy. Lu Ming was finally dead. Xian Yanqing should have given up by now. Mo Yang, let me go. Otherwise, I'll fight you to the death. At this moment, Xian Yanqing had actually calmed down. However, his body was filled with a bone-chilling killing intent, causing Mo Yang to feel a chill in his heart. Anyway, Lu Ming is already dead. In the future, I will definitely make you fall head over heels for me. Mo Yang gritted his teeth as he let go of Xian Yanqing. As soon as he let go of Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanqing's demonic qi exploded and his cultivation recovered. Chapter 1575. 1575 Wind Crystal. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had been restored, but his eyes were even colder. He looked at Mo Yang and said, Mo Yang, you're really despicable. You actually colluded with the Heaven Deity sect and the Yudu sect to harm Lu Ming. You're truly worthy of being one of the top 10 monstrous talents of the Azure region. His words were filled with mockery. Junior sister, what did you say? Mo Yang's expression changed slightly, and he revealed an ugly smile. Say what? Did he not dare to admit what he had done? How did the Heaven God sect and the Desire Poison sect know where we are? To be able to set up an ambush here so accurately, if it wasn't someone who leaked the information, what could it be? You intentionally looked for us and then came with us just to tip us off. Xian Yanqing said coldly. She was extremely intelligent. Previously, she had thought that meeting Mo Yang was purely a coincidence. But now that she thought about it, she realized that everything had been arranged by Mo Yang. Junior sister, don't slander me. Mo Yang's face was cold. You know best whether you did it or not. I'm warning you, don't follow me anymore, or I'll kill you. Xian Yanqing said coldly. Then he moved and flew toward the tornado that Lu Ming and the others were in. Bitch, sooner or later, I'll make you beg for mercy in front of me. As he watched Xian Yanqing leave, Mo Yang's eyes were filled with ferocity and the fire of evil desire. Xian Yanqing came to the tornado that Lu Ming had entered and observed from afar. And NBSP hoo-hoo. The tornado whistled and slowly moved towards the heavenly wind plane. Xian Yanqing followed the tornado and moved deeper into the cave. Half a day later, Xian Yanqing's expression changed. In front of him, there were many tornadoes. This one was actually gathering with the other tornadoes. There were many tornadoes there, blocking Xian Yanqing's way. Lu Ming, you have the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram is an item that can only be refined by monarch-level experts. It should be able to withstand the power of the tornado, right? Xian Yanqing murmured, but even so, her eyes were still full of worry. She stood there for a long time and only left when Lu Ming's tornado was completely out of sight. As soon as Lu Ming and the rest were blown into the tornado, the terrifying wind whistled and spun, cutting at the poison ivy on the outside. The poisonous vines were formed from the power of the laws and were extremely tough. However, in the midst of the violent wind, they were quickly cut apart and turned into ashes. The wind cut at the black wings, and sparks flew in all directions. It made an ear-piercing sound, and the black wings were constantly shaking. Damn it, we've been blown into a tornado. Tian Chui roared. What do we do? The tornado is too strong, we can't get out of it. Xuaningxin frowned. Thump thump thump. After a while, the flapping of the black wings became more and more intense. The chaos domain that Lu Ming had covered the black wings with could not withstand the cutting of the strong wind at all. In a short while, the chaos domain was cut open. Lu Ming's body trembled. A terrifying force passed through the black wings and surged into his body. Senior brother, senior sister, let's enter the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming said. The mountain and river diagram was a treasure that could only be refined by emperor-level experts. It should be able to withstand the cutting of the wind. As for how to get out, he could only think of a way later. The wind here was too strong, so strong that even with Bubbles' cultivation realm, she could not open a space-time tunnel to rush out. This was because the moment the space-time tunnel was opened, it would be destroyed by the wind. Then, Lu Ming's glabella glowed and he kept Tian Chui and Xuanixin into the mountain and river diagram. Just as he was about to enter the mountain and river diagram, his expression suddenly changed. Because at this time, he felt that the air-frozen bead in his sea of consciousness was shaking slightly. The air-frozen bead is a treasure of the wind attribute. It might be able to restrain the wind. Lu Ming was overjoyed. With a single thought, the air-frozen bead flew out from between his eyebrows and hovered above his head. The air-frozen bead vibrated slightly and a ray of green light shone down, shrouding Lu Ming. At this moment, the vibration on the black wings disappeared. Lu Ming felt that the strong wind had automatically detoured after meeting the energy emitted by the air-frozen bead. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The air-frozen bead was indeed useful. Following that, Lu Ming kept his black wings and a green halo enveloped him. No matter how strong the wind was, it would avoid the green halo when it came into contact with it. At this moment, a ray of green light flew from below the tornado. It was a green crystal the size of a fist. It's the wind crystal. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He recognized this type of crystal. The wind crystal stone was a type of crystal stone that could only be formed in places with an extremely high concentration of wind elements after a long period of time. It was a wind attribute treasure and was extremely precious. The wind crystal flew directly to the air-frozen bead, entered it, and disappeared. Lu Ming felt that the radiance on the air-frozen bead seemed to be more intense. With a cry, a bird flew out from the air-frozen bead and circled around it, as if it was cheering. The air-frozen bead was absorbing the energy of the wind crystal. Lu Ming looked in all directions. The strong wind blocked his vision and he could not see what was happening outside. However, Lu Ming had a feeling that the tornado was constantly moving. After a long time, suddenly, another wind crystal flew up from below and integrated into the air-frozen bead. The light emitted by the air-frozen bead became brighter. At the sight of this, Lu Ming was in no hurry to go out. He entered the mountain and river diagram and Tianchu. Xuanixin and Lu Ming said something and then came out again. They let the air-frozen bead float and waited quietly. After about half a day, the air-frozen bead had absorbed 5 wind crystals in total. Boom, boom, boom. Outside the tornado, there were tremors. Could it be that it has merged with the other tornadoes? Lu Ming made a guess. At this time, the bird on the air-frozen bead chirped, flapped its wings, and flew to the side. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He controlled the air-frozen bead and flew it to the side of the tornado. The tornado did not hinder them at all. Lu Ming passed through the tornado directly and saw that there was another tornado next to the tornado. The moment Lu Ming came out, he entered another tornado. As soon as they entered the tornado, a wind crystal flew into the air-frozen bead. It turns out that the air-frozen bead wants to absorb the wind crystals. Then I will absorb as much as I want. Lu Ming laughed heartily in his heart. He controlled the air-frozen bead and flew toward the bottom of the tornado. Soon, it absorbed another 5 wind crystals. Then, Lu Ming controlled the air-frozen bead and rushed out of the tornado. Lu Ming discovered that there were many tornadoes gathered and they were close to each other. Lu Ming did not take a second look and continued to rush into the next tornado. Just like that, after an unknown period of time, Lu Ming had entered more than 10 tornadoes. The air-frozen bead had absorbed dozens of wind crystals. The green radiance on the air-frozen bead was extremely rich and dazzling. I've absorbed enough. Let's go out and see what's going on. Lu Ming thought to himself. He then controlled the air-frozen bead and left the tornado. There was an empty space outside. Lu Ming looked around and realized that the empty space was surrounded by tornadoes. They were close to each other and surrounded the empty space. Chapter 1576, 1576. Seeing Eden again, the surroundings were surrounded by tornadoes, surrounding this area and leaving no paths in the surroundings. Lu Ming waved his hand and Tianchui and Xuanixin came out of the mountain and river diagram. Junior brother, where is this? As soon as the heavenly hammer appeared, the giant hammer also appeared in his hand, and he looked around. We should be in the depths of the heavenly wind plain, where hurricanes surround us. Lu Ming said. Oh. Tianchui and Xuanixin both looked around for a moment, and seeing that there was no danger, they both let out a sigh of relief. Man, I'll kill anyone I see from the Heaven Deity sect and the Desire Poison sect in the future. However, how did they find us before? They're still ambushing us. Tianchui cursed. It must be Mo Yang. He's in cahoots with the Heaven Deity sect and the Desire Poison sect. That's why we're being ambushed. Xuanixin said. Senior sister, you're right. Mo Yang didn't run into us by chance. He found us on purpose and then ambushed us. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had already thought of this when he was ambushed by the Tianshan sect and the Yudu sect. That was why he had allowed Mo Yang to take Xian Yanqing away. He knew that Xian Yanqing would not be in danger if Mo Yang took him away. Mo Yang, it's actually him. I'll smash him to pieces sooner or later. Tianchui's eyes revealed an ominous glint as he spoke. Lu Ming also nodded. He would kill Mo Yang sooner or later. This area is surrounded by hurricanes. There must be something abnormal. Let's check the nearby area. Lu Ming said. Tianchui and Xuanixin nodded. The three of them moved forward and began to investigate the area. This area was quite wide, about tens of miles in length and width. What's that? It seems to be a feather. Xuanixin suddenly pointed to the front. The three of them rushed over and found that the ground was full of potholes and some feathers were scattered. This is the phoenix feather. Lu Ming was shocked. He had obtained a few phoenix feathers before, so he would definitely not be mistaken. The feathers scattered on the ground were all phoenix feathers. There were more than 10 of them. It really is a phoenix feather. It seems like there is a divine phoenix in the heavenly wind plains. I can't be wrong. Tianchui said. Senior brother, senior sister, the phoenix feather is of great use to me. I wonder if you can give it to me. I'm willing to use other treasures to offset it. Lu Ming said. As for the phoenix feather, he could let his second body refine it into a phoenix feather flying sword. Previously, there were only 5 phoenix feather flying swords, and the phoenix feathers used in those 5 swords were not of very high grade. The phoenix feather in front of him now exuded a faint saint might, which was obviously left behind by a Saint Realm Phoenix. If it was refined into a phoenix feather flying sword, its power would be even stronger. Furthermore, the more phoenix feather flying swords there were, the more powerful the sword formation would be. Junior brother, what are you saying? If you have any use for it, just take it all. There's no need to offset it. Xuanixin said. That's right. You saved our lives just now. You're being too polite by saying that. I'm not happy about that. Tianchui said with a grin. Thank you, senior brother and senior sister. Lu Ming cupped his fists and did not stand on ceremony. With a wave of his hand, the dozen or so phoenix feathers on the ground were all kept into the mountain and river diagram and landed on the secondary hand. This place is full of potholes. It's obvious that there was a huge battle here. Also, it looks like the divine bird phoenix was severely injured. Could it be that the cry of the phoenix was made after the phoenix was injured? Xuanixin guessed. It's possible. Let's wait and see. Lu Ming nodded and the three of them continued to check. However, the three of them were highly focused. Even the Saint Realm Phoenix was injured. It was obvious that the opponent of the Saint Realm Phoenix was extremely powerful. Both humans and other divine beasts had to be careful. Along the way, the ground was full of potholes. It could be seen how intense the battle was. Along the way, Lu Ming and the rest discovered a small number of phoenix feathers. Lu Ming kept them all. Not long after, they found a deep pit. The crater was more than 500 meters wide and more than 1,000 meters deep. The three of them looked and guessed that there was a huge ancient tree here. Now, it had been dug away, even the roots had been dug away. Phoenix incense wood. The three of them looked at each other and thought of the phoenix incense wood. Perhaps the divine bird phoenix lived on the phoenix incense wood. Now, The phoenix was injured and its whereabouts were unknown, and the phoenix incense would have been dug up by someone. There are scattered tree roots over there. Tian Shui's eyes could see tree roots within the deep hole. The three of them flew down, and as expected, they saw a section of a tree root that was as thick as a human thigh. It was emitting a strange fragrance, and it was definitely phoenix incense wood. Let's look around. There might still be some scattered tree roots, Lu Ming said. The three of them began to search, turning the soil in the deep pit over and over. As expected, they found quite a few tree roots. The phoenix incense tree root was even more valuable than the branch. The three of them split it equally, and the harvest was not small. It's a pity that the entire piece of phoenix incense wood was dug up by someone. Otherwise, how much would it be worth if we obtained it? Tian Shui's eyes lit up. The phoenix incense wood could help a martial artist calm his mind and focus his mind. As long as one was a martial arts cultivator, they would need it. How many warriors were there in the Yuan continent? No one knew that the phoenix fragrance wood was definitely something that everyone was fighting for. Who knew how many raw stones a piece of phoenix fragrance wood could be sold for? The three of them searched carefully again and left after finding nothing. But soon, the three of them were shocked because they found a person. To be precise, there was a bloody pit there, and a figure was sitting cross-legged in the pit. Eden. Lu Ming was shocked. That figure was actually Eden from the Divine Ruins Continent Group. Lu Ming had a deep impression of this person. Back then, this person's bloodline was a phoenix zither. He could play the divine song of the phoenix and his combat power was very strong. Eden was actually able to enter this place. Eden was sitting cross-legged in the blood pit. The blood in the blood pit had actually turned into the shadow of a phoenix and entered Eden's body. The blood was obviously phoenix blood. Lu Ming, do you know this person? Tian Shui. Yes, I do. He came from the same group of continents as me. In our group of continents, he was a peerless Heaven's Pride expert. Later on, he joined the Tianshan sect. Lu Ming said, the people of the Heavenly God sect. Tian Shui's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. But at this moment, Eden was completely oblivious to the outside world and was focused on absorbing the phoenix blood. Boom. A moment later, a phoenix shadow flew out of Eden's body. After letting out a long cry, Eden's aura grew. The fifth level of the Martial Emperor realm. Obviously, Eden had made a major breakthrough in his cultivation and entered the fifth level of the Martial Royal realm. At this moment, Eden opened his eyes. When he saw Lu Ming and the other two, his pupils constricted and he retreated rapidly. Lu Ming, it's you? Eden immediately exclaimed in disbelief. Of course it's me. But don't you recognize me? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Lu Ming, I've already withdrawn from the deity sect. Eden muttered to himself. Oh. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. This was out of Lu Ming's expectations. Eden's cultivation was not very high. If he left the deity sect now, it would be equivalent to losing his protection. Chapter 1577, 1577 Chapter 1577 Suspected Monarch Weapon No. Eden shook his head. The ideas and actions of the Tianshan sect are really inconsistent with my martial arts. If I continue to stay, the progress of my cultivation may be even slower. Ah, kid, you have good eyes. It's good that you're leaving. The Tianshan sect will be destroyed by my Dragon God Valley sooner or later. Tian Shui laughed out loud. As long as he heard someone belittling the Heavenly God sect, he would be happy. You're leaving alone? Lu Ming asked. Ji Hongshan was there as well. However, after she left with me, she headed west out of the Azure continent. I don't even know where she is now. Dian said. Lu Ming's heart stirred. It was good that a few acquaintances had left. It would be difficult to deal with acquaintances when they attacked the Divine Heavens sect in the future. How did you get in here? What happened here? Lu Ming asked again. Eden had entered this place earlier than them and might know something. I followed the crowd into the heavenly wind plain. Not long after, I sensed something and followed it to this place. When I arrived, this place looked exactly like this. However, the hurricane didn't surround it. Eden looked around and frowned when he saw the hurricane. Lu Ming nodded. It seemed that Eden had only entered this place a little earlier than them. Now, it seems that we can only leave this place after the hurricane has moved. Eden said as he looked around. That might not be the case. Lu Ming smiled faintly, causing Eden's eyes to light up. Then, the few of them checked the area again, but they did not find anything. Eden, are you going to leave here? I'll take you with me. Lu Ming said. You can break through the obstruction of the wind? Eden said. Naturally, let's go. Lu Ming nodded. The four of them randomly chose a direction and rushed over. When they were close to the hurricane, the air-frozen bead appeared between Lu Ming's eyebrows, scattering rays of green light. With a single thought, the green light turned into a green light screen and enveloped the four of them. Enveloped by the green light curtain, the four of them could not feel the wind outside at all. The four of them moved forward, and when they walked into the hurricane, they were not affected at all. This greatly surprised Eden. The four of them walked through the hurricane as if they were walking on flat ground. After a while, the four of them passed through the hurricane and came outside. The moment they came outside, the four people's eyes all focused. This was because they found that the area was filled with hurricanes. Tornadoes that were as high as the sky surrounded a huge mountain in the middle. The void outside the hurricane was filled with people, looking at the mountain peak in the distance. Lu Ming and the other three immediately restrained their auras and hid behind them. People from the Yudu sect and the Tianshan sect. They looked forward and saw the most people from the Yudu sect and the Tianshan sect. After all, the Desire Poison sect and the Heaven Deity sect were the closest to this place. Naturally, the number of people who came here was the highest. Other than the Desire Poison sect and the Heaven Deity sect, the others were all cultivators from some small sects and powers. Naturally, there were also some people from the other 11 peak-level sects of the Azure continent present. Of course, the number of people present was relatively small. The Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. He saw the people from the Tianyu demon sect and Mo Yang, but he did not see Xian Yanqing. Where did little Qing go? Are you looking for me? Lu Ming made a guess and he was a little worried. The cry of a phoenix resounded through the world. This phoenix cry was loud and clear, filled with the domineering aura of the king of birds. It was completely different from the cry of despair and unwillingness before. The cry came from the mountain peak. This cry is completely different from the previous phoenix's cry. Strange, could there be two phoenixes here? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Following that, another cry rang out, reverberating through the heavens and earth. Everyone's eyes were on the mountains surrounded by the hurricane. Was there really a phoenix in the mountains? At this moment, the mountain glowed, and everyone saw a phoenix soaring into the sky. It circled above the mountain, emitting a vast and terrifying aura. Everyone took a closer look and realized that it was not a real phoenix, but a phantom made of energy. Boom. Then, a beam of light shot out from the mountain. The cry of the phoenix became even more intense. The aura was even more terrifying as it filled the air. Under this aura, everyone had the urge to kneel down and worship. What kind of aura is this? It's so terrifying. This seems to be the aura of a weapon. It's not a living creature, but its aura is too terrifying. It's many times stronger than ordinary holy weapons. Could it be that there's an absolute saint weapon inside? Or could it be? He didn't finish his sentence, but everyone was shocked. Everyone knew what that person wanted to say. Or could it be? A monarch weapon. Sovereign weapon, the exclusive weapon of sovereign-level experts. Many people's breathing became heavy at the thought of this. There was actually a monarch weapon hidden in the heavenly wind plains? This was especially true for the people from the Heaven Deity sect and the Desire Poison sect. If a peak-grade sect could obtain an emperor weapon, as long as they could activate a trace of its power, they would be able to dominate the Azure continent. Even if it wasn't a sovereign weapon, but an absolute saint weapon, its value would still be shocking. If not for the hurricane in front of them, many people would have rushed in directly. Above the mountain, a phoenix's shadow circled, its cry getting louder and louder. Send a message back. Ask the experts of the Saint Realm to come here. Someone from the Heavenly Divine Sect instructed. At the same time, the people from the Desire Poison Sect also ordered. As for the other top sects, as long as they had people here, they would think of ways to send a message back and invite their Saint Realm experts. It was suspected that an Emperor-ranked weapon had appeared here. This was definitely a major event that would shake the entire Azure continent. As long as the major sects received the news, they would definitely send their experts over. After the news spread, everyone waited. It's a pity that our Dragon God Valley is too far away from here. Even if we send back the news, it will be too late. Tian Chui sighed. Senior brother, senior sister, wait for me here. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly spoke. Junior brother, what are you doing? Do you want to go in alone? Xuaningxin said. Senior sister, don't worry. I want go in alone. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had the air-frozen bead and the hurricanes could not stop him. However, Lu Ming would not go in. With his cultivation level, even if he went in and obtained the sovereign weapon, he would not be able to leave. There were so many people watching. Also, this matter is not simple. There seems to be another force in the dark. That force had injured the divine phoenix and dug out the phoenix incense wood. Perhaps the changes in the entire heavenly wind planes were caused by this. However, that force had not shown itself yet. Lu Ming would not risk it alone. Then, Lu Ming retracted his aura and transformed into a young man with a sallow face. The aura on his body also changed into another kind of aura and then he rushed forward. In that direction, there were many experts of the Tianxin sect standing there. Among them were Yu Sheng and a few half-saint experts. They were the ones who had ambushed them before. Chapter 1578, 1578 Chapter 1578 Controlling the Hurricane Buzz. Lu Ming dashed toward the hurricane in front of him. What's that kid doing? You're really looking for death by opening your treasure eyes. Some people sneered when they saw Lu Ming rushing over. However, Lu Ming stopped as he neared the hurricane, causing some people to burst into laughter. They thought that Lu Ming had seen the treasure eye open and wanted to rush over but was afraid at the last minute. At this moment, Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. His glabella glowed and the air-frozen bead appeared in his palm. Buzz. Then, Lu Ming dashed into a tornado. Everyone present was stunned. He did not expect that Lu Ming would really rush into the hurricane. That kid has a rare treasure. He's not afraid of the hurricane. Someone reacted. It's that bead. Who's that kid? We must take him down. A half-saint expert of the Tianxin sect shouted coldly with a burning light in his eyes. There was actually someone who had a rare treasure and was unafraid of the hurricane. If they obtained it, wouldn't they be able to enter the mountains directly? Damn it, that guy, could he have entered the mountain alone? When the others spoke, it immediately caused the people from the Heaven Deity sect and the Yudu sect to be incomparably furious. They had already sent back the news that the Saint Realm experts would arrive soon. However, someone had actually rushed into the mountain first with a rare treasure. If we surround this place, even if that brat gets some treasure, he won't be able to escape. Once he comes out, well, kill him. The half-saint expert of the Tianxin sect said indifferently. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the tornado that Lu Ming had entered actually moved. It moved in the direction of the people from the Heavenly God sect. What's going on? Everyone from the Heaven God sect was shocked and quickly retreated. That kid's treasure can actually control hurricanes. The half-saint of the Tianxin sect roared, and the fiery light in his eyes became stronger. He was right. The air-frozen bead could indeed control hurricanes. Now, Lu Ming was using the air-frozen bead to control the hurricane. Lu Ming had discovered this when he was in the hurricane. After the air-frozen bead absorbed dozens of wind crystals, it gained the ability to control the hurricane. Lu Ming was in the middle of the hurricane. He controlled the hurricane and swept it towards the people of the Tianxin sect. The speed of the hurricane became faster and faster. Damn it, retreat, retreat. The people of the Heavenly God sect shouted and quickly retreated. Even a saint would die if he entered the hurricane, let alone them. Not far away, Tian Chui and the other two were dumbstruck when they saw this. As expected of junior brother Lu Ming. Amazing! After being stunned for a while, Tian Chui joyfully said. The people of the Heavenly God sect retreated quickly. The speed at which Lu Ming controlled the hurricane became faster and faster. It was many times faster than when he moved naturally previously. He was closely following the people of the Heavenly God sect. The others were shocked. To be able to control a hurricane, he was simply undefeatable in this place. Damn it, who was that kid? They dare to oppose our Tianshan sect. Investigate, we must investigate. A half-saint of the Heavenly God sect roared. And NBSP hoo-hoo. At this moment, a hurricane suddenly moved from the side and rushed towards the people of the Heaven God sect. In the heavenly wind plain, there were some hurricanes surrounding the mountain, but there were still many hurricanes that stopped in various parts of the heavenly wind plain. At this moment, Lu Ming was controlling a hurricane from a long distance and it rushed towards the people of the Heavenly God sect. Of course, there was a limit to such long-distance control. If it was too far away, it could not be controlled. This time, dozens of people from the Tianshan sect were caught off guard and were swept into the hurricane, including a half-saint expert. A series of screams rang out. Those below the half-saint realm were instantly cut into pieces by the hurricane. Only the half-saint expert was still holding on. A holy weapon appeared on his body and blocked the wind around him. No, quickly let me out. The half-saint expert shouted in fear. He wanted to charge forward with all his might, but with his cultivation he couldn't get out of the tornado at all. The terrifying wind kept bombarding his saint weapon, making it tremble. It didn't look like it could last much longer. Let me out quickly. Brat, you dare to offend my Tianshan sect? You're courting death. The half-saint was still shouting and threatening Lu Ming to let him go. How sad. Rest in peace. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. Of course, Lu Ming's voice had also been deliberately changed. No one could tell that he was Lu Ming. Then, he controlled the tornado and swept it towards the other people of the Tianshan sect. Split up and run, split up and run. Some of the remaining experts of the Heavenly Divine sect shouted. Then, the people of the Heavenly God sect scattered and fled in all directions. Lu Ming sighed in pity. The speed of the tornado was still too slow. It could not catch up with those experts at all. Just now, they were caught off guard and only swept dozens of people from the Tianshan sect into the tornado. At this moment, the half-saint expert who had been sucked into the tornado could no longer hold on. Kacha! Cracks appeared on his saint weapon, and then it exploded with a bang. No! The half-saint screamed in fear and then turned into ashes in the endless terrible wind. Everyone was shocked. A half-saint had been tricked and died just like that. Lu Ming walked out of the tornado and the air-frozen beads green light enveloped him. The people of the Heavenly God sect fixed their eyes on Lu Ming. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would have been riddled with holes. Brat, who are you? How dare you kill the experts of my Heaven God sect? In the distance, Yuxing glared at Lu Ming and roared. Those who commit injustice are doomed to destruction. I just don't like your Tianshan sect. Lu Ming said indifferently. You're seeking your own death. Yuxing roared. Oh, then come and kill me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Yuxing's expression was ugly. What a joke. Asking him to kill Lu Ming now was courting death. Kill! A half-saint of the Tianshan sect slashed out a ray of holy light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully and entered the tornado in a flash. The divine light was destroyed by the power of the tornado when it hit. Then, Lu Ming controlled the tornado, which continued to stare at the half-saint and rush toward him. The half-saint's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly turned around and fled. And NBSP hoo-hoo. The tornado suddenly changed its direction and charged toward the people from the Sky Demon sect. What are you doing? Run! Mo Yang roared as he fled. The other people from the Tian Yu demonic sect also fled. Lu Ming controlled the tornado and gave chase. The people of the Tian Yu demon sect and the Heavenly God sect were in a state of panic. Lu Ming took special care of Mo Yang and chased after him, causing Mo Yang to be in a sorry state. He was furious. As one of the top 10 geniuses of the Azure continent, he was being chased around in public. He had lost all his face. As Lu Ming chased after them, he suddenly changed the direction of the wind and rushed towards the people from the Desire Poison sect. It caused the people from the Desire Poison sect to flee for their lives. Chapter 1579, 1579 Chapter 1579 Saint Realm attacks and NBSP. The people of the other smaller factions were all stunned. Lu Ming was actually chasing after 3 top sects at the same time. It was confusing. However, the people of the 3 sects were indeed in a sorry state. Brat, when the Sage Realm expert of my Tianshan sect descends, you will be dead. Yu Sheng roared. That's right. There's also the Sage Realm experts of my Yudu sect. They'll arrive soon. Even if you hide in the hurricane, you'll still die. Someone from the Desire Poison sect also roared. He was really furious. Lu Ming was cheating by hiding in the tornado. He could only chase after them while they could only escape. They could not fight back. If they did, they would be courting death. Don't even mention how aggrieved he was. Lu Ming did not care and focused on controlling the tornado to pursue. However, the members of the 3 major sects had learned their lesson and stayed away from all the tornadoes. This way, even if Lu Ming could control the other tornadoes, he would not be able to kill the members of the 3 major sections. In the end, Lu Ming glared at Mo Yang and chased him around the area for more than 10 rounds. His face was the color of a pig's liver because of anger and grievance. After chasing for a while, when he was far away, Lu Ming silently exited the tornado. Then he changed his figure and aura and arrived not far from Tian Chui and the rest. The tornadoes had stopped, but the people of the 3 sects were still cautious and stayed away from any tornadoes. After a long while, the tornado didn't move at all. The people of the 3 sects let out a long breath. However, the eyes of the people from the 3 sects were burning with a terrifying fire. They knew that they had been fooled by Lu Ming. If this matter was spread, the 3 major sects would lose all their face. Mo Yang, in particular, was even more furious. Just like that, time passed by quickly as the people of the 3 major sects were on high alert. An hour later, buzz! A white holy light flashed in the sky, and an old man in a white robe appeared. Elder, the Sage Realm elder of my Heaven God sect has arrived. The people of the Heavenly God sect were overjoyed. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! Following that, air-piercing sounds rang out continuously. At least 7 to 8 figures appeared in the sky, each of them exuding a vast pressure. It was the might of a saint. The people who had come were all saints. Some of them were wearing green robes while others were wearing white robes. They were Saint Realm experts from the Yudu sect and the Tianshan sect. 3 Saint Realm experts from each of the 2 sects had come. The other 2 saints were not from the 2 sections. They were probably from the small forces nearby. Some small sects and forces also had Saint Realm experts. Some of the sects were not weak, only slightly weaker than the 13 top sections. The 8 saints stood in the air, looking at the mountain in front of them. To be more precise, they were looking at the phoenix shadow. What a powerful aura! This is at least an absolute saint weapon, or even more. A sage expert of the Tianshan sect spoke, his eyes revealing a burning light. The other sages were also excited. Boom! All of a sudden, a saint from the Tianshan sect moved. He took a step forward and the whole world rumbled. A milky white saint light shot up from his body. Finally, the infinite saint light condensed into a battle blade. The saber was at least tens of thousands of meters long. It crossed the void and slashed at the tornadoes in front of him. Boom! The blade of holy light struck the tornado and made an ear-piercing sound. The terrifying wind was like an infinite blade, constantly hitting the blade of holy light. The space was shaking. Break! The sage of the Tianshan sect roared. The aura on his body was even more terrifying. The light of his holy light battle blade shone brightly as he tried to split the tornado. The huge blade of holy light actually cut into the tornado. Many people held their breath and looked forward with wide eyes. Could a saint stage powerhouse break through the tornado? However, when the holy light battle blade was cut halfway, it was finally slashed by the endless wind blades and exploded. The sage realm expert of the heavenly god sect had failed. In the distance, Lu Ming's expression was still very solemn. The strength of a saint stage powerhouse is truly terrifying, Lu Ming thought to himself. He knew very well how powerful the tornado was. If a half-saint entered, he would die without even being able to resist. However, the Saint Realm expert just now could actually split the tornado in half and almost completely split it in half. His strength was truly terrifying. Faced with such an expert, Lu Ming would not be safe even if he used the air-frozen bead to hide in the tornado. The hurricane here is too strong. One person can't break it. How about we join forces? Jiang Chen said. A saint from the Yudu sect said, Join forces? How will we split the treasures after we enter? One of the sages from the Heavenly God sect said, After entering, of course it'll be based on your own ability. Whoever gets it will get it. A saint from the Desire Poison sect said, Alright, we agree. The three sages of the Heavenly God sect nodded at the same time. The other two saints from the small sects nodded in agreement. Boom, boom, boom. The 8 saints released terrifying auras at the same time. Their boundless saintly might filled the air. At the same time, a saint weapon rushed out of each of the 8, shining with brilliant light. The power of a saint weapon in the hands of a saint was completely different from that of anyone below the saint realm. It was terrifying. Then all 8 of them struck out at the same time. All 8 of their saint weapons struck at the tornado. Boom. The tornado shook violently. The tornado was powerful, but it couldn't stop the combined attack of 8 saints. After a loud boom, the tornado exploded and turned into a violent wind that scattered in all directions. One of the tornadoes was broken. Many people's eyes lit up. Continue. One of the sages from the Heavenly God sect said. Then, the 8 sages continued to attack. Terrifying attacks were continuously launched. The tornadoes were destroyed by the 8 people's attacks, turning into wind energy and dissipating. Soon, at least a dozen tornadoes were blown apart, and a huge gap appeared in the tornadoes surrounding the mountain. Everyone could clearly see the situation inside the mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, there was a huge cave. Bright light filled the cave. Surprisingly, the other tornadoes around the mountain didn't move. They didn't fill up the gap. Buzz. Suddenly, a sage realm elder of the Heaven God sect turned into a ray of light and rushed toward the mountain. In an instant he rushed out of the hurricane's range. Don't even think about it. The people from the Desire Poison sect roared and rushed forward as well. In the blink of an eye, the 8 sages had rushed into the region enveloped by the hurricane and into the cave. Let's go in and take a look. The others couldn't hold it in any longer. After seeing the 8 saints rush in, some others also rushed into the cave. Chapter 1580. 1580 The phoenix nailed to the wall. One figure after another rushed into the cave and disappeared. Senior brother, senior sister, how about we go in as well? Lu Ming went to Tian Shui and Xuanixin's side and restored his original appearance. Alright, let's go in and take a look. Tian Shui said, Lu Ming, I'm not going in. Eden shook his head. Eden knew very well that with his cultivation level, it would be useless for him to enter. If he encountered danger, he would drag Lu Ming and the rest down. Lu Ming nodded and did not say anything else. He, Tian Shui, and Xuanixin rushed toward the cave. The cave was huge and there was a downward passage. At this moment, another phoenix's cry was heard. It came from the bottom of the cave, but the voice was low, weak, and full of despair. Boom, boom, boom. Following that, a terrifying boom came from below. Could it be that there's a great battle below? Lu Ming and the other two's expressions changed, and they became even more careful. They completely concealed their auras and drew their saint weapons at any time. At the same time, Lu Ming was ready to bring Tian Shui and Xuanixin into the mountain and river diagram at any time. The passage was not long, and the 3 of them soon reached the end. At the end of the passage was a huge and wide underground cave. It seemed to be man-made. The moment Lu Ming and the other two entered the underground cave, they were stunned. They looked ahead in shock. There was a huge wall in front of the underground cave, and a phoenix was nailed to the wall. That's right, a divine bird phoenix was nailed to the wall. Its wings and legs were pierced through and nailed to the wall. Its neck was also locked to the wall. Fresh blood flowed from his wings, feet, and along the wall. At this moment, the phoenix was already very weak, and its breath was hanging by a thread. It let out a wail, its voice filled with despair. Lu Ming's heart trembled. It seemed that the phoenix's cry that had resounded throughout the Skywind Plains was made by this phoenix. It was filled with despair and unwillingness. A divine bird phoenix was nailed to the wall and could only watch as it bled to death. How unwilling was this? Who did this? Boom, boom, boom. A violent boom interrupted Lu Ming's thoughts, and he shifted his gaze away from the phoenix. Below the wall was an ancient altar. The phoenix blood flowed along the wall and onto the altar, seeping into it. A mirror was floating above the altar. This mirror was carved with a phoenix pattern. Moreover, there was an illusionary image of a phoenix flying around the mirror. The bright light was emitted from this mirror. The cry of a phoenix rang out. It was intense, high-pitched, and filled with the domineering aura of the king of birds. Lu Ming finally knew that the phantom of the phoenix that had appeared on the mountain and the high-pitched cry had come from this mirror. There were indeed two different phoenix cries. One belonged to the phoenix, and the other belonged to the mirror. This mirror was covered in a halo, giving off a terrifying pressure. The 8 saints were all attacking the halo on the mirror. This kind of pressure. It seems to be the pressure of a great emperor? Lu Ming felt the mirror's pressure and he was shocked. He had felt the pressure from Emperor Tsang and Shakyamuni annihilating Seoul before. They were extremely similar to this ancient mirror. They were existences on the same level. A monarch weapon. A word flashed in Lu Ming's mind. There was really a monarch weapon here. This is a formation. Then, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could see that the entire altar, as well as the ground around it, was covered with veined patterns that formed a grand formation. This is the grand ceiling formation. The monarch weapon is the core. The phoenix nailed to the wall is the key to breaking the formation. The blood that it shed can break the formation. At this moment, many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Someone had injured the phoenix and nailed her here, using her blood that was filled with resentment to break the formation. But now, they had barged in and the 8 sages were obviously attracted by the monarch weapon. They attacked the light ring with all their might, trying to get the monarch weapon. This way, it would be equivalent to helping to crack the formation. Lu Ming could see all of this. The 8 sages must have thought of this as well. However, they did not think about anything else now. The only thing in their eyes was the sovereign weapon. As long as he could get the monarch weapon, he didn't care what formation he broke. The 8 sages kept bombarding the light screen, and the underground cave kept shaking. The others watched from afar, unable to interfere at all. Gotcha. After a while, the light curtain finally couldn't take it anymore. A crack appeared on the light curtain. Then, the cracks increased and finally, the light curtain exploded with a bang. The light barrier shattered, and the cry of a phoenix resounded through the cave. The monarch weapon is mine. A sage expert of the heavenly god sect roared. Dream on, you want a monarch weapon? Let's see if you have the ability. The saint of the Yudu sect also roared. His body was covered in poisonous gas as he rushed toward the saint of the Tianshan sect. At the same time, he formed a giant hand and grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. Get lost. Anyone who blocks me will die. Kill. Chaos, complete chaos. The formation's light screen shattered, and the 8 sages were thrown into chaos. They all rushed toward the ancient phoenix mirror and fought each other. The value of a monarch weapon was simply too high to imagine. Thump. A giant hand formed from poisonous gas grabbed onto the ancient phoenix mirror, but the mirror trembled and a phoenix cried out. A pillar of light shot out from the mirror and destroyed the giant hand. But then, a giant hand made entirely of holy light also grabbed at the ancient phoenix mirror. The ancient phoenix mirror let out a phoenix cry, and then a phoenix phantom rushed out, crushing the giant hand of holy light. Then the ancient phoenix mirror trembled and flew directly above. A huge cauldron, a saint weapon, came crashing down. It was meant to suppress the ancient phoenix mirror, but the mirror dodged the cauldron's attack with a flash. The cauldron failed to suppress the ancient phoenix mirror. The terrifying power hit the altar below, shattering it and sending rocks flying. Boom. On the other side, the ancient phoenix mirror hit the wall above him, sending gravel flying. The ancient phoenix mirror directly pierced through the mountain, creating a passage, and the ancient phoenix mirror flew out along the passage. Where are you going? Chase. The 8 saints rose into the sky and followed the tunnel created by the phoenix mirror. In the blink of an eye, all the saints had left the underground cave. At that moment, everyone's eyes were on Phoenix, who was pinned to the wall. It was obvious that this was a saint-level phoenix, and its entire body was full of treasures. Chapter 1581. 1581 Chapter 1581 Evil spirits discipline king. They were not qualified to fight for the sovereign weapon, but now that the saint had left, they could not miss the phoenix. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. One figure after another charged toward Phoenix, who was on the wall. Get lost, you're looking for death. Kill. Roars of anger rang out as all sorts of brilliant rays of light exploded, filled with terrifying killing intent. Instantly, dozens of experts were blown up in the air, and blood filled the air. Among them, Mo Yang was the most terrifying. As soon as he made his move, the sky was filled with black demonic fire. Anyone who touched it was immediately burned and turned into ashes. The half-saints of the Yudu sect and the Tianshan sect were also extremely terrifying. With a wave of their hands, powerful cultivators were killed one after another. The few of them were the fastest as they charged toward the phoenix. No one noticed that the blood of the people who were killed quickly seeped into the ground and disappeared after it scattered on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming also rushed out. However, Lu Ming did not charge toward the phoenix. Instead, he charged toward the side of the altar. There was a stone plate the size of a basin with a Tai Chi pattern carved on it. When the altar was destroyed, this stone plate had flown out from the altar. Everyone thought that the formation on the altar only had one core, which was the ancient phoenix mirror. However, Lu Ming could tell that the formation on the altar actually had 2 cores. One of them was the ancient phoenix mirror, and the other was the stone plate. To be able to work together with the ancient phoenix mirror as the core of this formation, it was definitely not simple. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the stone tray, but it did not move at all. It's that heavy? Lu Ming was shocked. He tried to grab it but failed. This stone plate was heavier than a mountain. I'll put away the mountain and river diagram first. Lu Ming's eyebrows glowed and shot out a beam of light that enveloped the stone plate. The stone plate was successfully kept into the mountain and river diagram. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly felt a terrible sense of danger in his heart. This sense of danger made Lu Ming feel as if he was falling into an abyss. Not good, it's dangerous. Without thinking, Lu Ming took a step forward and retreated rapidly. At the same time, Mo Yang, who was pouncing toward the phoenix, had a drastic change in his expression. He suddenly turned around and frantically retreated. All heaven's favorites have extremely sharp spiritual senses. They can sense the danger that is coming and they can overcome the obstacles to reach the peak. Lu Ming was such a person, and Mo Yang was, without a doubt, such a person. Just as the two of them were retreating, wisps of black smoke rose from the altar and wrapped around a group of warriors. What the hell is this? Someone shouted in fear. A terrifying scene happened. Anyone who was surrounded by the black smoke quickly shriveled up and turned into a dry corpse. It was the same as being devoured by Lu Ming's devouring power. Get lost. The others screamed in fear and wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Those who were entangled by the black smoke turned into dried corpses. Break! Only a few half-saints could fight back. They took out their saint weapons and charged forward, dispersing the black smoke. However, after the black smoke was scattered, It gathered again, and all the black smoke was surging toward one person. That person was a half-saint of the deity sect who had once participated in besieging and killing Lu Ming. All the black smoke gathered and increased its power. The half-saint's saint weapon was useless. The black smoke was like small snakes, drilling into the half-saint's body. The half-saint let out a desperate scream and turned into a dry corpse like the others. "Let's go!" The few half-saints who had escaped were terrified. They roared and retreated quickly. The others were also extremely frightened and retreated to the tunnel behind them. Lu Ming, Tianxue, and Xuaningxin blended in with the crowd and retreated toward the passage. However, when they approached the passage, the walls on both sides exploded with a loud bang. Figures appeared in a flash and surrounded the passage. These people were all wrapped in black robes, only revealing a pair of cold eyes. "Kill!" The moment these people appeared, they charged at Lu Ming and the rest without saying a word. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that there would be people hiding on the walls. After reaching the martial royal realm, it would not be too difficult for a martial royal to cut a big hole in the wall, flatten it, or even restore it to its original state as long as one had mastered the earth domain or the mountain domain. However, everyone's attention had been drawn to the sovereign weapon and the phoenix. Caught off guard, a large number of experts were killed in an instant. Bush. Sword light flickered, and blood splashed in all directions. One figure after another fell. "Half-saint, so many half-saints!" Someone shouted in fear. There were at least 7 or 8 half-step saints among the black-robed men. The sword light flashed, and no one could block it. The most shocking thing was that there were a few black-robed men standing on the side. They didn't make a move, but the aura they gave off was extremely shocking. That was the might of a saint. The black-robed men were all saints. "Who are you people? How dare you kill the people of my Tianshan sect?" A half-saint of the Tianshan sect roared, but he was met with a terrifying sword light. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The black-robed saints didn't attack them. Instead, they walked past them and appeared in front of the broken altar. They bowed and said in unison, "Welcome back to the world, Dharmaraja. Flesh and blood, I want flesh and blood." Under the altar, a shriveled and unpleasant sound came out. It made people's hair stand on end. "Lightning King!" Lu Ming was shocked. These people were from Evil Spirit. Lu Ming's mind was racing. He finally knew what had happened here. There was actually an Evil Spirit cult master sealed in this place. Previously, the large array with the Tai Chi array disc and the ancient Phoenix mirror as the core was used to seal the Evil Spirit cult master. However, the Evil Spirit cult wanted to save their Shakyamuni, so they entered the Windy Plains and severely injured the Divine Bird Phoenix. Then, they nailed the Divine Bird Phoenix to the wall and used its blood, which was filled with resentment, to break the formation. Therefore, for the past half a month, the cries of phoenixes filled with unwillingness and despair could be heard from time to time, which attracted many experts. By the time the 8 Saint Realm experts entered, the power of the formation was already very weak. In order to fight for the ancient Phoenix mirror, the 8 Saint Realm experts broke the formation by force and shattered the altar, allowing the ancient Phoenix mirror to escape. This was equivalent to helping Evil Spirit cult greatly. Now, Evil Spirit's Discipline King was about to come out of seclusion. "Shakyamuni, we'll help you break the last formation first," a black-robed saint shouted. Then, the other black-robed saints started to attack the ground below the altar. There was another formation there, but it wasn't very strong. It was on the verge of collapse under the attacks of a few saints. "Senior brother, senior sister, well, go through the air passage." Lu Ming roared. The 3 of them rushed towards the tunnel that had been pierced through by the ancient Phoenix mirror. If they waited for Evil Spirit's Discipline King or a few saints to come out, they would all die. Chapter 1582 Chapter 1582 Dharma King's birth. The 3 of them wielded their saint weapons and sent the black-robed men flying. The others had the same thought as Lu Ming and the rest. They also rushed toward the passage above their heads. There were at least 100 people rushing towards the tunnel above them, and a portion of them were rushing towards the tunnel they had entered earlier. Kill! The black-robed men hunted with all their might, leaving behind a large number of corpses in the underground cave. However, there were many of them who had entered this time. Although a large number of them had been killed, there were still a few hundred of them who charged towards the two passages. Boom! At this moment, the underground cave shook violently. The formation was broken, and gravel flew everywhere. A dark cave appeared below, and a skeleton-like old man floated out of the cave. Flesh and blood, flesh and blood. The skeleton-like old man's hoarse voice rang out. After which, he pounced towards the corpses that had been killed. Wisps of black smoke seeped out from the old man's body and enveloped the corpses. Immediately, the corpses quickly shriveled up. Even the blood on the ground was absorbed by the black mist. The skeleton-like old man's body also became plumper and had more luster. I, Shakyamuni Devourer, am finally out. The old man laughed, and his eyes were filled with a shocking blood-red light. Welcome back to the world, Dharmaraja. The black-robed saints bowed. You guys are not bad. Shakyamuni's spirit devouring nodded. He then looked at the passage above and said, I need more flesh and blood. Kill. Then, Shakyamuni's spirit devouring flew into the sky and chased after the passage above, followed by several saints. At that moment, Lu Ming and the rest had already rushed out of the passageway. As soon as he rushed out of the passage, he realized that the tornadoes that had been surrounding him had all disappeared. Even the tornadoes on the plane had disappeared. The plane had become an ordinary plane. Boom, boom. In the sky, there were constant rumbles. Poisonous gas and holy light filled the world. At the same time, the cry of a phoenix could be heard. 8 saints were fighting in the sky for the phoenix mirror. No, not just 8 people. Lu Ming looked up and saw more than a dozen figures fighting in the sky. The entire sky was about to explode. The dozen of them were all sages. It was obvious that while they were in, another saint had arrived to take part in the fight for the phoenix mirror. The ancient phoenix mirror was surrounded by many saints. More than a dozen saints fought with each other, and no one could get the ancient phoenix mirror. Bang! Buzz! In the sky, a figure was sent flying, spitting out blood. A saint was injured. He was a saint from the Heaven God sect. There were strong and weak saints as well. Obviously, this person was one of the weaker ones in the saint realm. As soon as Lu Ming and the rest rushed out of the passage, they did not stop at all. They ran wildly out of the windy plains. Behind them, the evil spirit people gave chase. Elder, save me. Some people from the Heavenly God sect and the Yudu sect shouted loudly, seeking help from the saint realm experts. What? The injured saint took a step forward and appeared above the crowd. He said, What's going on? There's an ambush in that cave. Many of us were killed by them. A disciple of the Heavenly God sect quickly replied. They let out a long breath when they saw the half-saint of the Heavenly God sect. Such great courage! A cold, killing intent flashed in the eyes of the Heavenly God sect's saint realm expert. Just now, he was the first one to be injured in the fight for the ancient phoenix mirror. He had been suppressing his anger in his heart and had no place to vent it. Now, he turned his target to the evil spirit cult. Kill! The saint from the Tianshan sect took a step forward. The sky was filled with saint light, forming a terrifying sword chi that charged towards the evil spirit cult. In an instant, more than a dozen evil spirit powerhouses were killed, including 2 half-saints. A saint stage expert could condense saint power. Once the saint power was released, the true origin could not resist it at all and was instantly pierced through. Retreat! The rest of the evil spirit cultists retreated. However, Lu Ming, Tian Shui, and Xuaningxin did not stop at all. They continued to rush out. There was actually a Guardian King-level figure sealed here. Evil spirits' Guardian Kings were all Emperor-level powerhouses. Even if they had been sealed for many years, they were still absolutely terrifying. It was better to leave now. The Tianshan sect saint naturally didn't know any of this. Saint Light burst out from his body, and with a spirit that cared about the world, he stepped towards the people from Evil Spirit. How dare you kill the people of my Tianshan sect? Leave no one alive. The saint of the heavenly god sect coldly spoke. Oh really? Let's see how you're going to kill him. At this time, a sneer was heard. Shakyamuni's spirit devouring flew out of the tunnel in the mountain. His body was covered in black smoke as he flew over. The saint realm expert of the Tianshan sect looked at Shakyamuni Shirling and frowned. He realized that he couldn't see through the other party and didn't know his cultivation realm. However, he could feel that the other party seemed to be very weak, his chi and blood extremely weak. The old man whose chi and blood are about to be exhausted has also come to die. The saint of the Tianshan sect shouted coldly as he condensed a spear of divine punishment in his hand. As the spear of divine punishment struck out, a terrifying whistling sound resounded in the sky. Even the space started to ripple. The spear of God's punishment used by a saint was too terrifying. It was completely condensed from saint power and carried the power of laws. Lu Ming felt that even if he blocked it with a saint weapon, he would be pierced. Bang! The spear of divine punishment accurately hit Shakyamuni Devourer, who exploded. Oof! You can't even withstand a single blow. The heaven god sect's saint sneered in disdain. Is that so? Ga ga ga. With a sneer, Shakyamuni Shirling turned into wisps of black smoke and wrapped around the saint of the heaven god sect. How is that possible? Under the power of my laws, even a natural-type spirit body would be seriously injured. The heaven god sect's saint roared in disbelief. Some nature-type spirit bodies, such as fire and lightning, had strong vitality. When their bodies collapsed, they could greatly reduce the damage. However, the power of the law was extremely harmful to this kind of spiritual body. The spear attack of the saint of the Tianshan sect could definitely injure the opponent, but it seemed that the opponent was not hurt at all. In the next moment, his expression changed drastically because he felt the blood in his body boiling as if it was going to be swallowed by the black smoke around him. Explode! Break! The saint of the Tianshan sect roared, and his saint power burst out, trying to destroy the black smoke of disciplined King Shirling. However, it was of no use. The black smoke dissipated and once again condensed into small snakes, drilling into the body of the heaven god sect's saint. This is the soul-devouring technique. For you. The heaven god sect's saint cried out in fear. Hee, you're quite knowledgeable. You know about the soul-devouring technique. The soul-devouring Shakyamuni. A cold laugh came from the black smoke. Shakyamuni spirit devourer? You're the spirit devourer of evil spirit. The eyes of the saint from the Tianshan sect widened, and he looked extremely frightened. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.